First off, I'm a big fan of Queen J now. And I think that we linked up and cooked up some shit, it would be unstoppable. It would be insane. Whoa!
Oh. Hey, yeah.
Hey, yo!
Let's go! Yeah!
Hey, yo, you gotta understand. That's my type of shit right there, bro. For real. That shit is...
like, wait a minute.
How you doing?
Yo, what's good? What's good? What's good? Everything is blessed. And I appreciate you having me on your platform. This is dope.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's good having you here. Yeah, it's a blessing. Sure. For those that may not know who you are, can you who is Linz Prag? Like, can you go deep into that?
Yeah, so I go by Linz Prag. It's my producer name. I've been producing music since like the 8th grade. I produce all over the spectrum, from cinematic scores to, trap, EDM, rock, metal, all that stuff. So yeah, that's what I do. I also DJ as well, and I've been doing that for a long time, ever since I moved to Atlanta. So yeah, that's who Linz Prag is. I'm pretty short and sweet with it. So yeah.
Yeah. So where did your original story start? Like, where did everything begin? How did you get to Atlanta? How did you start playing the guitar? Is it the guitar and the bass? I saw that too.
I got my name Linz Prag. I was in government class in 12th grade, and I was bored, because government class in 12th grade, government stuff. So I was looking at a map on the wall, and by that time I was actually going by L Ren because my name is Lorenzo. So I just, was tired of, that cliche. So I had saw Linz, and then I saw Prag, so I shortened Prag from Prague to Prag. And it just clicked to me. And to me, it represents the idea that, like, wherever I'm at, I'm watching over my city and holding it down. I may not be from Linz or Prague, but the name is unique and it's stuck. It's 8 letters, I believe. So yeah, I like NZPRAG. It rhymes. Goes with good things. For me, Linz Prag is just more than a name. It's a brand. It's everything I've built through music, from producing beats and collaborating with artists, doing the Gauntletbeatbattle, creating opportunities for producers. When people hear Linz Prag, they think of creativity, versatility, and someone who's always pushing the culture forward. So, yeah. And basically, what made me, become who I am today as a producer, guitarist, DJ, all these different things, engineer, it's really a combination of my upbringing and from my love for music. I grew up in a single parent household. My mom, she was doing everything, working 2 jobs to provide for us. My dad, he really wasn't around, so it was music was an outlet to me. When I was in school, I would listen to Bach, classical music, Zaytoven. I remember my mom, she was working at Sears over the holidays. She had picked a second job up, because Christmas time was coming, and she always wanted to, spoil me with gifts and stuff. So she would pick up, you know, extra shifts, you know, to gift wrapping or, you know, doing something like that. And so she had brought home this Sears catalog. Yeah, I said catalog.
Yeah.
But she did that and it had this Nutcracker CD attached to it. And I listened to that joint every night, you know, even beyond Christmas time. I just listened to it because, you know, I just love the way that the music is composed, you know, and ups and downs and the differences between each instrument. So, you know, that for me was just amazing. And then, you know, I'll probably be showing my age here, you know, listening to watching TRL, you know, Total Request Live with Carson.
Yeah, so, I remember that too.
I you know, my favorite band, you know, is Korn. So I would be, when that came on, I'd be listening to Korn, getting out of school, jumping on my bed with a broomstick, pretending how to play guitar, you know, and my grandfather walked in and he saw me and he was like, okay. So Christmas time rolled around and he got me a acoustic guitar.
Okay.
So at the time, I didn't know how to play guitar. So I'm left-handed. So usually people who are left-handed, they'll play, you know, this way, right?
Right.
And they'll fret with their left hand and they'll strum with their right hand. For me, I'm truly left-handed, so I pick with my left hand and you know, I do my fretwork with my right hand. So that's a true left-handed orientation. And you know, as Jimi Hendrix would play, you know, so that's, you know, one of my biggest inspiration. So as you know, a guitarist, also listening to Dream Theater, John Petrucci is one of my favorite guitarists of all time. And Jason Becker, he's, you know, a virtuoso guitarist, classically trained from Juilliard. You know, he's one of the greatest in my eyes. So
how old were you? How old were you when you started this?
Man, I was like 15, 16, you know, just, you know, going with the vibes. You know, I really prevailed over a lot. You know, I was so distracted, you know, with stuff. After my father had passed, I had that was back around when I was in like the 7th grade. So when he passed, I started writing poetry, and I kind of got lost in that before starting music. You know what I'm saying? So like I kind of got lost in that, and I was just writing poetry for a long time, different things, and yeah, I just, you know, just went into a different thing. And my mom was like, well, you know, what if I got you like a computer or something and you could try and, you know, because there was a teacher at my school at the time who was teaching some music classes, and, you know, it wasn't really like they have today, but he was showing people how to use programs. And I remember like FL Studio was one of them. I remember Cakewalk was one of them. You know, there was just different, you know, programs. And, you know, I took a course and I got so involved with that I ended up failing the 7th grade. So I failed the 7th grade. I'm not afraid to admit that. So I failed the 7th grade, and, you know, my friends, they went ahead a grade, you know, and I was behind, and I remember dreading going to school that day and being like, man, like I really got to be with like the 6th graders who are coming to 7th grade, you know. So it was weird, and they were like, yo, who do you got? Who's your teachers? And I just tried to fake the funk, but, you know, they see me going, you know, in school, middle school, you know, there's different 7th grade sections, and then there's 8th grade sections. So it was difficult for me, but, you know, they didn't really care because we were friends, you know.
Right.
But that enlightened me a lot over that summer that I felt. You know, I, you know, sat down with my grandfather a lot. You know, I sat down with my uncles a lot, and they just really talked to me about different things in life, and, you know, just show me different things that my dad didn't, because he lived in New Jersey, you know, at the time. So it's just a different part of life that really taught me things about like the essence of like, you know, unity and sounds, and, you know, just being around, you know, different environments, like listening to go-go music from, you know, DC, the DMV. I'm from Virginia, so, you know, that's the sound, you know, like DC, Maryland, Virginia, that's the sound, you know. So like listening to those different things, and living in Charlottesville, you know, my grandfather did. He did the carpets in what's his name? Boyd Tinsley, the violinist for Dave Matthews. He did his yacht, and I was able to sit down with him, and he was talk to me about music stuff, and it was just so far advanced because I was self-taught that, you know, I would read tablatures and different stuff like that. That it was just a different situation. So it was definitely a blessing to do that. And yeah, at the end of it all, I got to high school. You know, I was so locked in with music. I was in a rock band. We won Battle of the Bands 3 times in a row. You know, I was the lead vocalist, guitarist. You know, had a bass player. You know, drummer, rhythm guitarist. I was lead guitarist and vocalist. You know, we rocked the house every year for 3 years in high school. You know, and by the time I got to 12th grade, it was like time to pick like what kind of college you want to go to, like what, you know, type of stuff you want to do in life. And I got a scholarship to Virginia Tech, full ride for electrical engineering. I turned it down to pursue music. You know, my family kind of was very upset with me about that, but I felt like it was a blessing because I felt like if I had went to Virginia Tech during, and you know, God rest all of those souls, during that mass shooting there, I would have been involved in that, like as far as like potentially being a victim, you know, or something like that. So it's just different paths that lead you, you know, and I look back on that all the time and I'm like, man, like what if I was walking to my electrical engineering class and something happened, you know, like, and at that time I had picked up some classes at a community college, you know, just to, because I was making music. I mean, I'm banging out in studios like around the city. I'm going to Richmond, I'm, you know, going to DC, you know, stuff like that. And it's just different, you know. So like I saw it on the news and I was like, wow, like I was actually supposed to be in college there, full ride, you know. I guess that was kind of like me, you know, kind of, it was this guy steering me in a different direction, you know. I'm forever thankful for that, you know. But
the music literally saved your life.
Yeah, you know, music really saved my life a couple times, you know. So like, just, you know, just being involved with that stuff is just crazy, you know. My family was upset with me at first, but then once they saw all of that, they kind of was thankful, you know. And they're very, I'm a spiritual person, but I'm not a church going person, if that makes sense. Like I don't go to church every Sunday. Like I'm not, you know, super like religious or anything like that. Like I'm very, you know, to myself type of vibe, you know. So I you know, I stand my ground on my own faith, you know what I'm saying? So that's just the type of person I am. And yeah, you know, that's pretty much, you know, crazy, you know. Looking back at it, it's like, would I've been alive and been some big engineer that works for Apple or Microsoft, or, you know, what or would I've been, you know, in the spirits in heaven somewhere? Like, who knows? You know, I just don't know. So it's just so, I'm just thankful to be here today, you know, with a family, you know, a house, being able to, you know, do what I love as my day job, you know. So like that's just how I rock, you know. And I've been really going hard for this music stuff for a long time, you know. I really got it out the mud. Nothing was handed to me, you know. My mom, you know, watching her being a single mother and just really, you know, struggling, and seeing it in her eyes, and watching her come home and putting her purse on the couch and just kicking her shoes off. And, you know, at the time she was smoking Newport, so she would, you know, smoke a cigarette and have a Coors Light, and I ain't knock her from that. But I'm like, man, my mom really working hard out here, so I need to go cut some grass or something, do something, you know, to help, you know, see what I can do, because I'm just a teenager. She's looking for me to go to school and, you know, pursue what I got to do for the next steps. So yeah, it was just wild, you know, just a very different kind of experience, you know. So music's taking me into some different directions, you know. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you feel like so you feel like this was fated, like this was fate, like this was something that you were meant to do, especially since you diverted Virginia Tech?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I actually started working. You know, I was working a day job. You know, I was going to community college to get some credits. I dropped out of community college because it's like, really ain't no point. I had a full ride. Why am I going to go to community college? Like so I dropped out, you know, and I just went and got a job working at the University of Virginia. You know, I was working at HVAC, and, you know, I was, you know, working on the grounds, and, you know, just, you know, the students and stuff. I had my uniform on, and, you know, people would walk by, and they'd be talking about having a party, or they're gonna be, you know, be having, you know, a get together. And I'd be like, hey, you know, they're like, do you go here? And I'm like, no. They're like, and they see me with a badge and then a uniform, and they're like, you must work, you know. So the way I approached them is like, hey, you know, it sounds dope, you know, you know, I'm a producer, you know, I play in a rock band, you know, here's my info. And, you know, at the time, I think that, you know, Facebook was evolving and Instagram was starting to, you know, pop out, but it was just different, you know. And they'd be like, well, if you let us hear, you know, so I sent them a MySpace link and stuff like that, and they listened to it, and they're like, cool, we'll definitely book you guys for our, you know, our frat house. And I tell my bandmates, and they get hype, and I'd be like, yeah, they said they provide a keg for us, and they pay us like $600, you know, to come and rock at their frat, you know, Friday night. And then Saturday night we'd be doing I'd be DJing like a black fraternity party, you know, something crazy. You know, I didn't really know what I was doing then, but I just knew how to play them records, and the party was crazy. The facility was packed, wall to wall. I'm sweating bullets, everybody's sweating bullets, girls everywhere. I'm just around music, you know, so like it was just a different time, you know. So like having that energy and that vibe, mainly playing guitar in front of people, was what made me want to really be a DJ as far as in electronic music, because I was able to be in front of people and play my own music, you know, and people, you know, electronic music, people go crazy for it.
Oh yeah.
So when they're headbanging, I'm getting that same feeling like when I played a rock show and we we make a crazy drop, and I'm on guitar and they're going crazy in the crowd, and I'm on the mic, and after I'm doing my screaming and shouting, I'm playing the crazy guitar solo, and people going crazy and the crowd surfing, and I'm getting that same energy. Like, you know, once I moved to Atlanta, it was like wow for me, you know, getting booked. You know, I was just it wasn't hard to get booked here. You know, I just, you know, met a lady. She was like, how long you been DJing? I'd be like, I ain't really been DJing that long. She was like, I see something in you. I'm gonna give you a shot. So I went to Guitar Center that day. She said, you'd like to DJ at night? Like, and I'm like, okay. She's like, okay, I'm gonna have you DJ from 12 to 6. I'm like, 12 to 6 p.m.? She's like, no, 12 to 6 a.m. I'm like, so I'm doing that. I get to the spot, and I'm like, got all this music. I'm downloading all this music, and I'm like, man, like, this is like one of my first gigs, and it was really big because it was like packed out. Because after the clubs closed, like, that's where people were going, was that spot. And I was a DJ, got in there and started playing records. I just got the formula. Like with DJing, like you can practice, but like when you really get on the boards and you start DJing, like you really have to be impromptu. You know what I'm saying? So like you really have to read the crowd and really see the energy, because you can't just get on up there and play track after track. Like, you can't get up there and just play Drake all night. You got to be able to play Boss Man D-Lo. You got to be able to play like some throwback jams. You know, you got to be able to play like the hits. You know, you got to be able to play all of the hits across from the 80s to the 90s to the early 2000s. Wow. You got to be able to read the crowd, you know, play the remixes, do all of that, you know, and I was doing that in real time, learning different BPMs at that time. Because when I was making music, I'm like, okay, they'd be like, yo, what BPM is that? I'm like, BPM, what the hell are you talking about? They're like, beats per minute. And I'm like, okay, so I had to learn that. And my friend Mark, you know, he taught me BPMs, you know, because he was in the University of Virginia marching band. You know, he played the snare drum, you know, and he was a lead on the snare. And so he would tell me, he'd be like 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, and turn the metronome on and show me how the time signatures work. You know, like 4 4 3 4, different time signatures and what they meant and how they flowed. So I was just like, okay, now I'm starting to understand it. He would stomp his feet on the ground and be like, count with me. Like 1 2 3 4. Like he'd just do that, and then we'd do that. And then he'd be like, all right, pick up your guitar. Now play that riff, and I couldn't do it because I'm thinking too much. So he's like, all right, go on and just use this metronome. He gave me a metronome. I turned it on. He was like, start at like 60 BPM. I tuned it to 60 BPM. He's like, work your way up to 140 BPM. And then I want you to double time it at 75. And I was like, so 150. He was like, yeah. So while I'm DJing, that knowledge that he taught me back when I was, you know, playing guitar and learning stuff, I applied it to DJing. So I'm like, okay, I see if a song is 140, you know, I know that it's going to be this, you know what I'm saying? Or if a song is 75 BPM and it's double time it's going to be 150 BPM, you know? So that's just things with music that kind of gives you an advantage if you know, are a DJ, and that, or, you know, or vice versa, as being a producer going into DJing. You know, if you know your time signatures and stuff like that, you can be dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what it was for me. So yeah, I mean, this is different like that.
Yeah, that's neat. Were there any producers at that time that completely changed how you looked at making beats in like a commercial and local?
On a commercial level, really like Pharrell, Jay Dilla, and Skrillex, you know, they were like the ones that made me really, you know, kind of turn my ear at music differently. You know, Pharrell, because, you know, you could throw Timbaland in there just because of his uniqueness with, you know, using his mouth as an instrument, as far as like, you know, doing this stuff and then using and applying it to like Aaliyah records and stuff like that. But Pharrell, just, you know, to this day, the way his sound is, him and Chad Hugo as the Neptunes, they just had a sound that was timeless, even to this day, you know, and I feel like it was just special, you know. And obviously with Jay Dilla, he's just straight up and down hip hop, you know, having that swing that everyone is always chasing, you know, that sound on the MPC, you know, just banging beats, like, you know, that's just the thing, the essence of that. You know, you hearing these records, and, you know, you hear like Mos Def, or, you know, all of these rappers like on these joints, and they're like, yo, this joint is vibing right here.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
Yeah.
so, like, and my mom listening to that type of music, you know, I was listening, and even listening to the Roots. You know, the Roots, they even, you know, I love them as a whole. You know, Questlove, you know, I love him as a drummer. His rhythm is insane. You know, his pocket is crazy, you know, when he plays music. So, like, just his vibe, you know what I'm saying? Black Thought is a lyricist, you know, the way that he do double entendres and the way that his lyricism is, man, like I think it's All Things Fall Apart. The album is my favorite album, you know. So, like, that's so the Roots, definitely.
That's heavy hitters right there. Yeah. I was listening to Mobb Deep and Alchemist, and, you know, going back to that era. And somebody else I was listening to the other day. What was it? I have to look it up real quick. I forgot his name, but it was like, that was timeless. Like, I'm real bad with names, saying them out loud. Hold on, let me look that real quick, because it's gonna bug me if I don't. Yeah, I have to look it up. Because you're gonna be like, you forgot that already?
I also forgot to mention Kanye too.
Oh yeah.
Me too, like
Kanye, yes.
Yeah, Ye had definitely, man, like, for sure.
Find it. I have to go back and look at it. I'll tell you afterwards. But yeah, I can't remember his name, but I was like, wow, this is like genius the way he did that whole beat and everything. So what were your like biggest obstacles that you had to overcome early in your career?
Basically like, you know, trying to really establish a name for myself. And living in a small town like Charlottesville is very small. You know, when you think of Charlottesville, you think of like the Dave Matthews Band, blues, ragtime. You don't necessarily hear hip hop as much. So when a lot of people want to do like urban events, it was kind of difficult. So we kind of built a band. I was in several bands. I was in a funk band as a rapper. I was in, you know, like a blues band as a rapper, because you have to introduce it that way, you know. So like you have to, like, if you're gonna rap, you can't just come in there with like some trap stuff and it ain't gonna evolve like that, because you're playing in basically a college town. They want to hear like Don't Stop Believing type vibes by Journey, or, you know, all of this stuff like that. They want to
It's a different culture.
Yeah. So my band at the time, From a Distance, is what we were called. My friend Will Rainey, he played the riff on guitar to Don't Stop Believing, and the kids were like, yeah, you know. And then the drummer started playing the beat with it, and then I started rapping. I don't even remember what I know. I said she's just a small time girl, and then they started going crazy. I didn't sing it, I rapped it.
Right.
I just started freestyling it, and they were going crazy, like. And he was just playing it, and then the drum stopped, and I just kept rapping, and people were like coming up to me, and they were like giving me money, and they were like giving me drinks, and I'm rapping. And these kids are putting their arms around me, and I'm like, yo, you know, their parents are rich as hell, and they got the pop polos on, and they just came from the horse races at Foxfield, and they got their glasses on and their Sperry's on with their little like hot dye khaki pants on, like.
I know exactly. Like, yeah.
So like they got their arms around me. I'm up there rapping. Like it's only other like maybe like three other black people in that bar. You know, and I'm up there just holding it down. And then the bar owner came, like when they cut the lights on, they were like, hey, like, you guys want to play here like every other like Saturday, or you know, and do this? And we're like, yeah, sure. And at that time, you know, they were like, so who do you go by? And I'm like, I'm Linz Prag. They're like, okay, that's cool. You know, so, and I would say from time to time I go by Zoe, because my name is Lorenzo, but you know, most of the time I was like, yo, I'm Linz Prag, you know. But they didn't know that I was producing music like that. So I would have to go outside of my scope. So in Charlottesville, there was a lot of artists, and this is why I executed on it a lot. And there were a lot of rappers, but they didn't have no producers. You know, they were going to SoundClick a lot. So they didn't have nobody to really tailor their sound. So they were trying to find producers, and people, you know, were like, yo, you need to holler at Linz Prag. You know, and people were like, yo, you need to holler at Linz Prag. Because someone in the city came across my SoundClick page, not SoundCloud, SoundClick. You know, at the time was popping. And you could pay to advertise your beat, you know, and get it bannered, and they play it. This was like what BeatStars wanted to be, and SoundClick walked so BeatStars could run. So that's the whole thing of it, and I stand by that. And right. So basically, you know, so it's just crazy how that was. So back to that. I advertised the beat. I put like $150. At that time, it was a lot, you know, because the inflation was different then. So I put that behind it, and it stayed up there for like a week. And then people would be like, oh, producer from Charlottesville, Virginia. And I would get messages, and they'd be like, yo, I want to lease this beat and lease it. And then I just started seeing leases, and then I had to send them out, you know. So then I'd send them out. And then like people was like, yo, Linz, like, yo, I just saw you the other week, you know, at the Star at the mall, like you was, you know, yada yada. They said, bro, like, yo, we got to link up. So they ain't had no studios to really go to in Charlottesville. So I, you know, my mom's career, we just had a 2-bedroom apartment. So I made my room into a studio, you know, and just, you know, I talked to every neighbor, you know, next door neighbor. I was like, yo, I got these speakers. They're a bit loud. So, you know, forgive me if they go a little loud. Is there a time restriction that y'all want me to cut it off?
Right.
And is there a time that I can play it, you know, loud? And they were like, well, if you could play it between like 1 until like 6 or so, that's fine with us. I was like, okay, cool. So everybody that wanted to book a session and make beats, it went way past that.
I was good. You know, 5 hours ain't long enough.
They want to go to the store, get something to drink, come with like 6 of their homies. And I'm like, yo, like, I got, my bedroom is not that big, bro. Like,
right.
And I won't even really record at that time. I'm just making beats. So they're like, yo, you got a mic? So I had to, after they bought beats, I'm looking on, what was it? Musician's Friend. Because I got the catalog of Musician's Friend. I was getting catalogs of Musician's Friend. That showing my age again. Musician's Friend catalogs is coming to my house. And I was in Musician's Friend, and I called them. I was like, hey, you know, I'm interested in, you know, trying to record. I want to, you know, figure out an interface and get a mic. And they were like, well, we have, back then it's M Audio. And M Audio and Avid, the Pro Tools, they had the box, it was a gray box with the blue, like a blue strip across it, and it was a Pro Tools. And I was like, all right, I'm interested in getting that. They're like, well, you want to apply for a credit card? And I was like, nah, I ain't got no credit. So I asked my mom, and she was like, nah, I'm not using my credit. So I had to save up. And I was like, yo, there's some people would ask me, yo, how much you want for a beat? And I would go crazy high. I'd be like,
yeah, heck yeah.
I want like 700. They were like, God dang. but then they'd be like, yo, can you do like 300-400? I was like, yeah.
Okay.
And me not knowing, I didn't know nothing about no contracts, no exclusive, you know, I'm just looking at what SoundClick is saying, you know.
Right,
but,
right.
I'm seeing the prices, you know, and stuff like that, and I'm like, bro, people from all over the US started, you know, buying beats. So I'm in there, and the beats up there for like $75, like $100 for like an exclusive lease with no tag in it, you know. But me asking people for that much money locally is because the accessibility. And they don't got nobody else to do it for them. So they're asking me, like, yo, can you make me a custom beat? And that's why I was charging that, because they want a custom beat. And so like, I'm like, okay. So then I started to do some research and look at books, and YouTube was there, but it wasn't really there for that type of content. So,
what year was this, by the way? I'm trying to think. 2008, 2009?
2008, 2009, yeah.
Okay,
so,
all right.
Yeah, so we was in that era. So like, it's just like, wow, like just figuring this stuff out. And I got a mic and stuff like that. And you know, I didn't have no stand. I just hung it up from the light and just
talking about from the string on the light.
Yeah, just hung it up.
Oh, that's wow.
From the light, and we just was recording people. And then I got a mic stand, and Cats was like, yo, Linz got it going on over there, you know, because with Pro Tools, I didn't know what I was doing at the time, you know, like I had taught to Full Sail, you know, they wanted me to go there in Florida, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do that.
Did you know at the time how to protect the room from like natural reverb and all that kind of stuff? Did you know anything about that? I just on the mic and kept it rolling. I wasn't thinking about none of that. Because I didn't know none of that. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
There was a studio resource center, you know, downtown that was a big studio. And now I looked around and I was like, oh, they got a lot of stuff. Like all of these racks, I didn't know what it was. It's just like, it looked like a bunch of just like Christmas tree of lights. Like, but it's just like different racks. And at the time I didn't know, like, that's a compressor, that's a limiter. That's got auto tune in the rack, you know, that's a power strip, that's a power conditioner. Like it's all of that stuff. Like these are the monitors and all this different stuff connected. That's a mixing board right there. I didn't know all of that then, you know. But people, that studio got frustrated with me because I was taking their clients because I was, recording them for a cheaper price, and the sound wasn't that bad. It wasn't bad. And
Did you use a lot of the outboard gear and all that stuff and mixing on the console?
At that time, no. I was just mixing on a Sony Vaio laptop. I had pulled the RAM out and put an SSD in there, and I put I want to say 24 gigs of RAM in it. So I did that, and I had it rolling, like that. And so I just was doing that, and it was fast. It was good enough for me. I got some, external hard drives, and I just started discovering different VSTs and all that different sounds, and it just really went up from there. And by that time, I look down and I look up, and I'm like, wow, my dad was sending child support money. I was making more than that, and I ain't even really going nowhere yet. And so I started looking around, and people was like, yo, you should, they do these beat battles up in DC and, up in Richmond and stuff. Like, you should go do a beat battle, your beat's fire, I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go do that. So I did a beat battle in Richmond, and I didn't make it. I made it 2 rounds, and then I got knocked out. And I was a little butthurt about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how'd you feel about all that?
I was a little butthurt about it because everyone was just gassing me up from my hometown because I was the guy. It was me, Traumatone. Traumatone's a dope producer. He's got a lot of accolades. He produced the Rich Homie Quan and Yo Gotti record, I know. So he produced that joint, super big record. And it's just basically me and him and maybe one other producer, but we were really those dudes, so we were just producing for everybody, and then I was like, man, I gotta expand. So I went and did the beat battles, and people was like, yo, even though you lost, your beats was fire, bro. How much you charge for this and this and this? And next thing you know, I'm going up to Richmond in studios and working in studios with different people, and I'm like, yo, okay. And they asking me and they paying me before that, cash, PayPal, whatever, I'm working it out, figuring it out, asking my mom, yo, I done made this, I need to save this, and I would give her the money and she would just save it for me. And then I would, I went and bought a guitar that I wanted forever, and I would,
all this is you've taught yourself the whole time.
So this whole time, I'm I quit my job, I was like, yo, I'm gonna move to LA. I think I need to move to LA. So I quit my job, at UVA. I stopped doing the rock band because the rock band stuff, the money won't make it. I was so involved with producing and trying to get to a level, and I'm seeing all of these people, these rappers and stuff on these beats, and I'm listening and I'm like, man, I could do that, or I could do that, so I'm just like, man, I need to figure out what the demographic is and how to get there. So I just was just moving in different ways and, just staying to myself. I'm very reserved, if you haven't noticed, I'm not very, open, I'm you got to peel the layers back for me, so it really take time to really understand what I really be doing, so it's a lot.
I know why you do that. I know why, because everything you process internally. You don't rely on nobody else to figure out your problems. Everything is internal, so you can't be around a bunch of people and think at the same time and solve problems.
Yeah, because imagine you being in a session with FKI, right? FKI is, they produce, he produced White Iverson, he produced so many big records for Iggy Azalea, all of them. Imagine being in a session with him, and 2 Chainz walk in, and then your wife call you and is like, I'm going into labor, my water just broke. That's the type of situation I was in. I'm like, dang. So You know, I get wisdom from them, and they like, yo, this is a blessing. Something crazy happened for you. You know, because before I was gonna go to LA, Los Angeles recording school, I got accepted to the Los Angeles recording school for music and film, and it was in North Hollywood. Got accepted, had a roommate, his name was Mateo, had all of that set up. They had the Mac for me, all of this stuff for me, everything. I just, you know, had to buy my plane ticket and just pay for my, you know, the room and board was a little pricey because it's Hollywood. You're in North Hollywood, so it was expensive. My mom was really you know, I had enough money saved up to do that though, you know, so I was like, I'm gonna do it, you know. So I was gonna go. I got to a doctor's appointment, and then like probably like I want to say like 4 hours later, like they had called me and was like, you need to go to the emergency room because you got too much potassium in your blood and it could like stop your heart. And I'm like bugging, and I'm like, what they talking about? So I go, and they're like, yeah, so like, you know, your kidneys are like functioning at like a low percentage, and you gotta put you on dialysis. And I'm like bugging out about that, and like my mom's all like upset, and I'm just sitting there just keeping my mom calm. You know, I'm like, yo, it's okay, like just let the doctors do what they gotta do. And they're like, you know, like you gotta like be on dialysis, and you know, we'll put you on transplant list. And I'm like, all right, cool, do what you gotta do. So I go through all that, and I'm the youngest person in this dialysis place, like with all of these
dialysis.
Yeah, you know,
You were
I was on dialysis. I'm like the youngest person in there on dialysis, but it didn't stop me. I'm in there sitting in a chair. They're giving me ice chips. I'm plugged up to this machine, and then like they got these tubes going into this machine, washing my blood and putting it back in my body. And
I used to be a dialysis technician. I used to do that, put people on dialysis.
So, I had the thing on my the tube thing on my side right here.
Yeah.
So like, I hated that thing. I couldn't take a shower. Like I had to sit in the bathtub, take a bath. I couldn't eat stuff that I wanted to. So I'm just like, all of this is crazy. So I'm just like, they would take it off and it would itch a lot. They'd take the little iodine stuff and clean it around the site, patch it back up. So I'm like dealing with this. I lost so much weight, and like I was just dealing with that so much, and like it was just crazy and challenging. So I'm sitting there, I'm cold, I got the blanket on, they're giving me ice chips. I'm like, got my computer, I'm making beats while I'm in dialysis. I'm like, bro, ain't nothing stopping me. So March 16th, 10 days before my birthday, because my birthday is March 26th. It's March 16th, 2012. I got a call for a kidney transplant. So I was like, okay, cool. That's right. So I'm in my Mustang, you know, and I'm sitting in the rain, you know, and I'm just like talking on the phone, and I'm like in shambles. I'm like, yo, you know, because I went from doing the dialysis thing from there to doing like peritoneal dialysis at home. So I'm like in Fresenius, sending all of these big boxes. It was a lot, you know. So I was just like, you know, dealing with that, and I'm like, yo, like, I had felt so defeated because I'm like, bro, I can't go talk to girls. I got this like tampon looking thing hanging off my side of my chest, like. Yeah,
not laughing. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I was frustrated, you know. So, but at the same time, it didn't stop me. Kept moving. So like after that, you know, doing the peritoneal dialysis, for probably, I want to say like, I probably was on dialysis for like a year total. And so after that, getting that call, and like, cause it was so weird, cause like when I was working and stuff, like I was getting so many different cramps. I mean, I was getting cramps in places I never had gotten cramps.
Did they say what? Can I even ask this? Like, what caused your kidneys to fail? Because of course I'm curious.
So I had and me and Alonzo Mourning share the same. It's like FSGS. So like it's a chronic kidney disease, and basically the way the doctors describe it is like if you take a coffee filter and punch a bunch of holes in it, that's what it is, and it scars the kidney.
Yeah.
And it makes it to where it can't filter the way it's supposed to, you know. And at an age, you know, because I went for a physical at a young age because I played sports like crazy, and I quit sports because of my dad, you know. So like, I mean, I was an elite wide receiver and basketball player, baseball, all that, lacrosse, I did it all, you know. And I just quit cold turkey because he never showed up. He said he would come to my games. I literally caught a touchdown, ran into the end zone, looked into the stands. He wasn't there. I took all my gear off and just left it in the end zone and walked, you know, and sat on the bus. And the coach was so mad at me. It was like, number 86, what are you doing? It was like, Bess, what are you doing? Like, cause I was super fast, you know, and like, it was just crazy how that formulated, you know, and I just quit instantly because my dad just didn't keep his word, you know, and I quit. And then, you know, I went to my doctors and they were like, you kind of got high blood pressure. We need to see what's going on with that. And so at this age, you know, you having a little high blood pressure is different. So they had put me on some lisinopril at the time. I had to take that. And then after that, everything was cool. And then they had to talk with me. It was like, as I was getting older, they were like, eventually you will need to do dialysis and get a transplant.
Oh, so you saw it coming.
Yeah, but I didn't see it coming like that because I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was partying, I think I sped the process up now, to be honest, because I'm out there partying and I'm out there drinking and taking shots and doing all this stuff, and so I'm out there wilding. So, you know, it's some on me. You know, I fought myself for that. But, you know, after I got my kidney transplant, you know, it was like, yo, like, it just was so enlightening to me. I was like talking to my homie who went to UVA. You know, he graduated with a physics degree, he's a physicist. We moved to Atlanta. We was like, yo, let's flip a coin. See if they're heads or tails. You know?
Remember you told me that, yeah.
So, you know, we ended up down here instead of New York. And, you know, he couldn't withstand the pressure. So he ended up moving back to DC and, you know, doing, you know, that type of work. But I stayed to it and kept going, you know, because I didn't need to, you know, I wasn't tethered anymore, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I had to find a nephrologist, and, you know, me and my nephrologist is super tight.
That's
awesome.
So, like, yeah.
You know, his name's Dr. O. You know, he's always like, yo, how's the music going? You know, who you working with famous now? I see his stuff. Like, he's one of my biggest fans. It's crazy to have your doctor, like, you know, rooting for you. You know, it's crazy. So, like, he's like, yeah, you know, we just got to make sure, you know, everything's good, you know. And I'm like, always, every morning, I'm like, yo, I got to take a hefty cocktail of pills, you know. And I'm like, bro, like, they got me on this stuff, and it was just like taking a toll on me, you know. And I'm like, bro, like, I'm taking like these immunosuppressants, I'm taking all this madness. I'm like, yo, like, this is wild. So, like, this really is the first time I'm like speaking about it on here. So I'm shocked. And like, nobody, and this is the reason why I go so hard in music, and that's why Sandman and Nightlife and everyone's like, yo, nobody mess with Linz, because like, unless they've been through what he'd been through, bro, like I've been in a car accident, walked away unscathed. Like, my friends, all of their spines were exposed. Like, the car shredded them up. One of my friends lost his arm. My friend, his whole back was open. Like, I helped him out the car. The van flipped off the highway, off the embankment, hit a tree. It looked like Godzilla's clawed right through it. Me and my friend Mark were sitting in the back row of this Ford van. If we had seats, we would have been decapitated.
Oh, wow.
So it was just crazy how that unfolded too. And I'm like, yo, these things that have happened, from me dodging Virginia Tech, being in a serious car accident, and one thing that was hurt or injured was my watch, my Timex watch at the time. And me having to deal with kidney issues. Those three things, they made me ascend to the producer I am today, and made me like go. That's why I go so hard with music.
Right.
That's why when like I don't let nobody stop me. Like after I got my transplant, I was up and back and forth to New York City. You know, I was with Big Sean's label and people, you know, his tour manager, all of these people I'm in the studio with, you know, with my homie Bobby Capri, you know, just different artists. You know, I produced a record for Jadakiss, you know, did a joint for Fabulous. That never got released, but it's like still got a record with Fabulous. It's just a lot of different things. And it's like, yo, I got like 3 Tory Lane songs. Like it's a lot of different stuff that I've done, you know, as far as that's been dope. I did a song with OG Mako, you know, I produced for him. I got I sold some records to Diplo as like a ghost producer. So like I got good front end money, but like the back end stuff, that's all them. So I kind of took an L on that. I'm not afraid to admit it. But yeah, it's just been.
Do you feel like because of all those obstacles, and I know you're not religious, you know, but because of all those obstacles and those superstars that you have worked with, do you feel like it's like a white light around you protecting you? Like, do you feel like something's there protecting you because it's your destiny to work with these artists and to put out music and to have a name for yourself? Like, because those were like heavy obstacles you went through.
You know, it's crazy, you know, because it's just really like wild how like all of that stuff unfolded the way it did. Because like after like something always happened, like after like the whole like car accident thing, like I went and did a beat battle. Like after, you know, the whole like, you know, debacle with the kidney thing and I got a transplant, I moved to Atlanta, you know, and I was in the session with Waka Flocka, and then I was in the session with Southside and 808 Mafia and DJ Spins and Sunny Digital. I wasn't even in Atlanta for a month and I'm doing this, you know, so like and it's just like opened my eyes to so many things. And now I'm literally wrapping up the Ying Yang Twins new album, and I produced a majority of it, you know, so like the singles are about to drop, and it's just crazy that going from listening to them in high school and middle school to producing for these legends and them sitting on my couch, even having Zaytoven sit on my couch.
Who was it? What was that one?
Zaytoven.
Zaytoven, yeah. I love Zaytoven, yeah.
Having Zay. Like, I even had Maestro. Maestro, he produced the Lil Wayne joint, 3P.
Yeah.
Like, it's just crazy, like having these titans come to my crib, yo. Like, I bought my house in 2020, you know. No, 2021, excuse me. And it was like, yo, it was just crazy. Like me and my girl, we bought the crib, you know. He's like, yo, went to Market Mortgage, bought the crib, and, did our thing.
Yeah.
Now we got, you know, then we got married. We did everything in the order.
That's fantastic.
Bought the crib first, got married, had a kid. Now you got another kid, 2 dogs. Her dad bought us a fence, all that stuff. So it's like the true American lifestyle, some people would call it. But like, I just was blessed to be able to do that, you know. And a lot of things that held me back and I missed opportunities is just having toxic managers. Had a very toxic manager, and he really dropped the ball on a lot of accomplishments that I have missed, you know, for things. So like.
But do you really feel that? Do you really feel that he dropped the ball on it, or was that you think it was supposed to happen to divert you over to working with these legends? And then when you're working with these people and they're in your crib and you're around them, yeah, you listen to them when you were growing up, but you realize these are human beings. Yeah, they're legends or stars, but they're just like me and you. They have feelings, everything else, and they navigate this world and have insecurities and go through obstacles just like everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe that manager, which you'll get into, was a blessing in disguise.
It was because you know at the time I knew I was living in Buckhead, and Buckhead's a really bougie area to live in, because I'll tell you, like, when I moved to Atlanta, I was living in Marietta, Georgia, and
I know what that's at.
the Guitar Center was right up the street. I was living there for like probably a year, and then I woke up one morning, I thought we got robbed, but his mom literally drove down from DC with a U-Haul, packed all of his stuff up, like the living room, everything. My TV was on the wall, so I also had to think, I was like, if they would have robbed us, they would have took the TV too.
Yeah, yeah.
So then I had to stand there and think, and I called her. I was like, yo, bro, where you at? He was like, man, my mom, she made me move out. And I was like, what do you mean, bro? Like, so what happened? He was like, she already paid the lease like 4 months ahead, so you can stay there. And then, you know, I'm like, nah, screw that. So I called one of my homies. I was like, yo, I need a spot, bro. He was like, say less, like, pack your stuff, pull up. Moved to Buckhead, crazy crib, like insane crib. And he introduced me to a crazy different, you know, lifestyle of music, you know, and shout out to my homie Cyrus, DJ Cyrus. And just was able to do this music, DJing and electronic music, and take it to a different level, and throw that trap element in there. And then everybody was rocking with it. Waka, all of these cats was like, yo, like Linz, like, yo, he's on a different level. And to hear these people talking like that, bro, and like being in Dallas Austin studio and me playing in, he's like, this ain't really my vibe, but this is hard, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I'm like, bro, this is Dallas Austin singing this, you know? And like the crazy thing that's came full circle is like, I did an I Standard battle, you know, in Atlanta and DC, and the one in DC, which Jay Hatch had hosted, you know, I became, you know, cool with Jay Hatch, you know, and like, you know, God bless his soul, you know, it was just like, you know, he rocked when he saw something in me, you know, and Buddha the Future, he's a dope, you know, producer. And I had ran into him in passing. He was like, yo, Linz. I was like, yo, what's up, dog? He was like, yo, you still producing? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yo, you need to pull up to the studio with me, yo. Like, you know, we talk about Jordans and stuff. It was crazy. And then once I moved to Atlanta, I did another I Standard beat battle. And Jay Hatch, I was like, yo, how much is it? Yada, yada, yada. He was like, yo, nah, I got you. You good. So I got my lanyard, my Monster Energy lanyard. I got the Monster Energy towel, the drinks, all of that. You know, I go in there and Focus is there. And so at the time, I knew who Focus was, but I didn't know like to the caliber, you know, because my boy Sonny Digital was up there judging too. And I was going in the battle. So people battling, I'm playing all electronic different stuff like with trap in it. And Focus is like, yo, this is different. Like, you know, he telling me, he was like, yo, you gotta work on your mixing, but this is definitely different. And so like the fact that, you know, he's part of the Gauntlet, and like to go back, it's just a full circle moment. And I'm like, yo, like, this is crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Like to have him here, you know? So like, it's just wild how that happened, you know? So like, I'm just thankful, you know, for all of that stuff, you know, and my Gauntlet brothers and everything, you know, just being able to do that and rock with them. And, you know, we just, you know, taking it one day at a time and one season at a time. And
I
just
love
holding
it.
down.
Yeah.
And just, you know, just doing things as they should be.
Yeah.
And just, you know, yeah, just rocking
It's changed so many lives, the Gauntlet has.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know. I don't even. It had to have been IG. I saw you guys on there, and you guys were advertising for producers to, you know, get on there. And for some reason, I'm very shy. I don't like put myself out there. I don't like being center stage. And then, you know, I just put my beat out there and it went from there. And that's what a lot of producers do. And it's because you guys go up there and you judge, but it's like you do it for the producers. You can tell it's not for yourselves.
Right.
And I appreciate that too. We all appreciate that to the fullest. So is that where it all began? The Gauntlet is in Atlanta when you met Jay Hatchett and
No, no,
focus?
no, no, no,
Okay,
no.
okay,
Me and Sandman started that during the pandemic when everyone
okay,
was in the house. Yeah, everyone was
okay.
in the house. But that beat battle that was in
Uh-huh.
Atlanta was just crazy because I came in second place, and like it was just like even though the person that came in first place, they treated me like I won, like I had won first place because of like how unique my style was. Like
Yeah.
they gave me a machine micro, related instruments. They gave me like some VSTs, like some IK media stuff, like a bunch of different stuff. Like then it was just so dope, you know, a T-shirt, and like I was like, yo, like this is dope, you know. So like you know,
Right.
I was rocking with that for a while, and like it just was a different like vibe, you know. So like after that, I stopped battling, and I just started focusing on getting placements and trying to, you know, see where my music was gonna navigate me. And so like I got a rude awakening. Like I knew selling beats in Charlottesville, it wasn't gonna be as easy in Atlanta because it's a bigger metropolis, it's more people, it's more competition, it's more, you know, you gotta really stand out. So like I went completely left and just started doing electronic
Yeah.
trap.
Describe that sound. Is that your signature sound? Like describe it. Like what's
So,
the creative process of it? Because I know you showed me like a bunch of your beats. I'm like, this is like, and it hits hard and it's
yeah, so,
clean.
so it's just like it's like this, like with the whole like electrical engineering, like my brain just is wired different, you know, like my amygdala is just like circles, you know what I'm saying? My fight or flight response is so insane, like when it comes to music production,
Uh-huh.
because I could be with any artist and they could say, I want a country song with some trap drums and an electronic drop, and I know exactly which direction to go. You know, I can pick my guitar up, play it, lay some keys down, throw some hard drums on it, write a hook, it's sold, you know, and that just comes so easy for me, you know. So like it's just like wild, you know. So like with the whole electronic sound, like I was dealing with a difficult relationship. I made a mistake and moved a girl from Colorado to Atlanta, which was not a good move, but you know, love is blind at times. So
Yeah.
that happened. And as we, you know, stayed together and stuff like that, and, you know, got to know each other, it just was like, I was like going out. And I mean, I'm going to Ruth Chris with my homies. I mean, we're going to Ruth Chris, we're going to Saks Fifth, like, we're lighting the bag up, like, we're running through money. Like, it's just crazy. So, like, and I'm coming back home, and, like, I'm like, yo, like, we at Linux, and we just mobbed out, and we seeing people like Benzino walking by, Future, these people walking by, like, and you know, just talking to them, trying to get in the studios with them, and then security being all weird, and it was just different, you know. But then like the women were just like, they knew we did something. They knew that we were like DJs or something. We had iced out, like, you know, freshest Jordans, they ain't even out yet. Like,
Yeah.
we was just on that, you know. So like everybody just, it was just Atlanta is just different like that. So I'm coming home and I'm like, yo, like seeing that, it's like coming home to like a very vanilla lifestyle. Like it's like, it's not a lot
You
of
felt
flavor.
bored? You felt bored coming
It
home?
was just bored,
Yeah.
but at the same time it got annoying. Like I'm like, bro, like I ain't trying to sit here and binge watch whatever's on there. And like, you know, like at that time, cause I'm moving, right? So I got frustrated, and I went to my studio, and I just started crafting different sounds. I just started with a sine wave, and I started layering saw waves. Then I'm throwing oscillators in there, and I'm pitching them differently, and I'm detuning them. I'm just creating, like, by the time I know it, I got like 7 or 8 different layers in one sound, one bass, and it's talking differently. So it's like going like this, but at the same time it's doing this and it's going like this. So like it's doing all of that at the same time, and it sounded crazy. So I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna throw some drums behind this, see where it go.
Yeah, yeah.
That was my experimentation moment, and then
And that's what I respect.
You know, then I
Yeah.
started to hone in on it, and I was like, all right, I gotta start doing, you know, the numbers game, and start looking at everything and paying attention to it for 1/4 triplet, 1/8 triplet, you know, making sure that it's bouncing the way it should be bouncing, and making sure the bass underneath is bouncing the way it should be bouncing. So like I'm doing all of these things and throwing distortion on the bass, and you know, throwing this layer in the basses, and I caught the attention of Excision. He's like him and Skrillex are like the OG dubstep gods, you know, like they're the dubstep gods. And to have someone like Excision reach out to me and say, yo, I want you on my label. So I signed with Uplink Audio, and that's what and I did like a 5-track EP and dropped it. And then where the manager came in and messed it all up is I was supposed to play Ultra Festival in Miami, and I was supposed to play Electric Daisy Carnival. So he messed that up because there wasn't a buy-in, but there was a buy-in, if that makes sense. So basically, because I was signed to Uplink Audio, he came in later and was like, well, since he's signed, he should get paid this much and this much. And I'm like, okay, but I'm signed with them, so they're gonna put me on the bill anyway. I don't care if my name is this big. I'm still on the bill, bro. Like, it's Ultra. Like, it's Ultra, dude. Martin Garrix is playing, like, Tiesto's playing. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't care if my name is this big, bro. I'm playing with all of these people, you know?
Right, you're right.
So, got that messed up with me, and that joke, it was just ridiculous. So that made me really mad. So then he found an investor, and the investor, he put up, I want to say like at least 500,000 invested. Now, that was supposed to be a majority towards me, to invest in me and the label, which was Takeover. And it just went left. You know, it was just, I don't know what happened. But all I know is at the end of the day, the guy who put up the money, he had his house foreclosed, his boats taken. Like, it was a lot that happened. And it's crazy because me and him had the same birthday, March 26th. So like, he didn't blame me or nothing. It wasn't on me because I didn't make no mistakes.
Right.
But yeah, that was a messy situation.
So do you feel like that's something that happens a lot of times, like risky business in this music industry, shady business that goes behind the scenes?
Oh yeah.
Loyalty versus non-loyalty. Like, can you without going to controversy, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
And what to watch out for? Like, what's the signs?
You gotta watch out for the super eager people. After I won that beat battle, this label came up to me. It was like 5 guys. They had their label shirts on, and they came up to me. They were like, yo, we want you to come into a session, sit in with our artists. We'll pay you for your time. You know, we like your beats. You know, we'll cop beats from you. Yada yada yada. I'm like, cool. You know, let's do it. I pull up on a Sunday, and this particular Sunday, it was a weird vibe. Like, I went in there, and I'm sitting in there, and I'm playing beats, right? I'm playing beats and going through beats, and it's just like they vibing. Then all of a sudden, this dude came in, and he like, this girl put her phone out, and she had a phone. I'm thinking she just recording the session. But little do I know, like, she pulled her phone out because some dude came in, and I'm in front of the computer playing beats like this.
Mm-hmm.
To my left, there were like some studio couches, and then right in front of me was the booth with the window and everything, and the speakers and everything. So it's loud in there. I'm playing beats and everything. The girl pulled her phone out. I noticed at the corner of my eye because there's people behind me too. So I pull my, like, I'm just like, okay, what's going on? So
Yeah.
I just heard this sound, and this dude is knocking everybody out. So I hit the space bar and pause it, yo. He knocked this dude out. He knocked this chick out. He came over to me, tried to knock me out. Like, I ducked. Yeah, I ducked. He got me like in the back of like my back, and I like ran. So it was just crazy. I don't know what was, like, he was after some dude. And like, after that, like, we left, but I forgot. I was like, yo, I left my hard drive in there and my keys. So they cleared it out, and I was like, yo, I gotta get back in there and get my keys. So they was like, yo, go ahead. Get back in there. Next thing I know, there's like at least like 15 to 20 cats that just roll up, all black. They got shirts, black shirts around their face, black shirts around their head. They look like ninjas. They popped out AK-47 submachine gun. They in this studio. They won't let nobody leave. They asking for an artist. They're like, yo, where you at? They asking me. They're like, yo, who, you know what? You playing beats? Like, where you at? I'm like, they just invited me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't got nothing to do with this. They're like, nah, F that. You know where you at? I'm like, yo, I swear to God. Like, the dude, he literally came up to me and put the gun to my shoulder. It was like, yo, where he at? And I was like, to be honest, he might be upstairs. And
yeah, you just made some shit up? Did you just make this?
They was like, then why ain't you say that? And I was like, I want a beat battle, and they invited me here. And he was like, what's your name? And I was like, Linz Prag. And they started whispering to each other. They was like, oh yeah, you was the producer of that one. And they was like, yo, my bad, man. And I'm like, yo, but so the dude that had punched me, he was like, I guess they did something to him, or they talked to him. He came in there crying. He gave me a wad of money. He was like, yo, like, I ain't even know it. It wasn't even that type of time. Like, I didn't even know it was you like that, young blood. They talking all of this crazy madness. I didn't even care about the money, bro. Like, I was like fearing for my life. Like, these guys are like, they so deep in here with all of these guns, and like, they weren't playing. Like, it was serious. And so I didn't like, for that, like, I was like, bro, I'm never going to a studio session. Like, I'll never, like, that's what I told myself. It took me a while for me to get out the house. Like, every time I left, I had anxiety attacks. I was like,
oh, so you had major PTSD from that,
yeah,
obviously.
Cause like, yo, like, I ain't been in no scenario like that.
Yeah.
And I'm in Atlanta, and I'm like, yo, like,
that's some movie mafia shit.
like,
You know what I
yo,
mean?
Yeah, like, yo, they don't play like Little Mexico in Atlanta. Like, don't go there. Like, it's just crazy. Like, it's just wild how, like, it is. But I'm in there, and they just rolled up in there, bro. I dodged getting knocked out, and then come back in, and then I'm like being held hostage. And then at the end of it, they're giving me all of this bread. I'm like, bro, like, this is like the craziest chain of events I've ever experienced, bro. Like,
that is insane.
It was wild. But worked my way through it, and I said, I made a vow to myself, I'm only going to studio sessions where A-listers are at. I'm not going to nothing.
Yep.
No janky madness. They gotta have a gate. I need to see all the cameras. Make sure it's legit. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could feel that a little bit because well, not the whole kind of story, you know.
Yeah.
Just as a female, went one time to a studio, just
Yeah.
one time, and it was at night, and I was cleaning and doing because I was gonna try to like be an engineer at the studio, and then it's not a very it's not a popular studio. You know what I mean? I don't want to say it's janky, but you know, it's not one of those $1 million studios. And it's just like anybody rolled up in there, there's cameras, but the vibe was off. It's like I guess as a music producer, artist, engineer, you have to pay attention to the vibe of the environment and keep your eyes out.
Yeah.
And like not go in there being naive, basically is what you're saying,
Yeah.
because anything can pop off at any time.
Yeah.
And there's so many artists. This is good to talk about it because there's so many artists that go in there and they're so excited to work with somebody that has a name, and it's and you can't be blinded by that because you don't know what's gonna pop off. So I ended up leaving this little studio because things were transpiring, and I'm like, I got a professional license I gotta look out for. Like, I gotta look up for my life. I'm very comfortable around men. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't have that, like, some females don't like being around men or have that
Yeah.
fear being. I'm not like that, but I was like, I need to just make my shit at the house and have people listen to it, like, through email or whatever until I get, you know,
Yeah.
maybe established one day. But that's wild. I'm glad you made it out with your life and,
Yeah. Well,
like,
yeah. But
that's-
a lot of things led to different things. Like
uh-huh.
then my homie Jay Wills, you know, he moved to Atlanta and he started working at Patchwork Studios. And how the whole Ying Yang Twins thing happened was, you know, he was like, yo, I know a producer that does everything that y'all want. So he calls me, he's like, yo, Linz, I'm the Ying Yang Twins in here, they in room A. They looking for these type of records. You want to pull up and make them something or play some beats? I'll pull up. I start making it. They already recording the song. They was like, what's up? You know, I meet Kane. And me and Kane is like this. Like, he'll call me, be like, yo, how my goddaughter doing? How my godson doing? Like,
Yeah.
so like, you know, that's like he shows so much love. So like him and D-Rock, like, you know, I was like, yo, as soon as they started cooking up, they was like, Kane, he's like, what's your name again? I was like, Linz. He was like, Linz. Okay. He's like, yeah, you hard. I like your shit. And I'm like, yeah, I appreciate that. You know, so like, you know, that it was just so dope that he was rocking. He's like, yeah, we working on this album. I'm trying to get it done. Like, you might be the key to it. And so from that, when I made the songs called Pretty Women, it's like a pop song, you know, and the joint he's supposed to get, he's still waiting for Flo Rida and Pitbull. I don't even know if they're gonna get on the record, but they had it. Me and Sandman produced one. For
It's gonna be on this album of the Ying Twins.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so me and Sandman got one, and then I produced one that we're going to be submitting to the NFL. And here's the
That's
thing
right,
about
you
that
told me about
is,
that one.
this record is, they're still fighting over it, and like,
Who's they? Is it? It's the NFL. Like, who's fighting over it?
The NFL and the Falcons are still beefing about it because the Falcons want it and the NFL wants it. So like now it's a position where it's like,
That's a good position, though.
it's like which way is it gonna go, because it's
Right.
such a major record that like it's going to be the anthem of like either the 2027 season or the 2028 season. Like, it's going to be the record for that, and like we're trying to close this as fast as possible because I know that, like, they're talking like a really healthy sum of money, you know. So like I'm like, let's just get this shit closed so I can move on, you know, so like I can close that chapter and say like, yo, this is what I've done with that, you know. And it comes on, royalty check. Every time it plays, royalty check, you know. So I'm like looking for that, you
That's
know?
such
So,
a
like,
blessing. Yeah.
it's coming, it's there.
Yeah.
We've already had we done had about 5-6 conference calls, had Zoom calls, we talked about the record. They don't want to make no changes to it. Well, I'm lying, they do want to make a change to it. They want like 3 different types of versions of it, which not gonna be on me. I produced the beat, so
Right. Right.
but
So when you're making all this, and when you're talking to the high CEOs and executives and everything of like NFL, and that's huge. How do you, for everybody that's coming up and producers that are out, how do you stay humble in the room full of these like
it's just like
big names?
they're just normal people, you know? Like
You ever get nervous?
being nah.
Good.
Like being in sessions like with Lotto, right? I was in a session with Lotto. I didn't get to play no beats. She was just in there recording and making music. You know? She was like, yo, she was like, what's up? Like, what you do? I was like, I'm a producer. She was like, oh, you make beats and stuff? I was like, yeah. She was like, take my email, take my number, you know, send me something. I'm like, cool, let's go. You know? Black Metaphor, he's dope, you know, just working with different producers. Like Zaytoven, I went to their release party, everything, VIP'd up, everything. Like, it's just a lot of different stuff. Gucci, you know, I was in session with Young Thug, like a lot of different people. It's just, you're gonna, like all of them. So it's just like, it's not new to me when you in sessions with them. They just in there, they smoking, they vibing the beats. Like, they, you know, you just gotta have your etiquette. The studio etiquette is not spoken enough because everybody that's around someone famous or someone that's really accomplished, first thing they want to do is this helicopter movement, right? With the phone. They call it the
keep that
helicopter
phone.
movement. They spinning it around. First of all, rule number 1 is don't take your phone out, because if they playing unreleased music and you post it, you leaking the music. You already messing it up, you know? So like, they ain't gonna have that. And if you bring somebody with you, it's best not to, unless you really trust them and you know that they're professional too, don't bring nobody with you because they could mess it all up for you. And I've seen it happen. I've literally seen people get kicked out of a session because of the fact is they homeboy or homegirl in there fanning and they doing all of this stuff. Trying to, you know, clout chase. Yo, I'm in the studio, but blah, blah, blah. Yo, say what up. They're like, man, get the F out of here. And it was like, you with them? You gotta go too. Yeah.
Because they put the names together. They put you guys together.
Who else with them? Was it just them two or anybody else with them? Shit, I don't know. I ain't with them. I came here on my own will, you know?
Yeah.
So like, it's just crazy like that, you know? But being in the studio with the Ying Yang Twins and then like Jermaine Dupri, like Bow Wow, you know, Bone Crusher, having all of these people, these legendary people, like, you know, just wanting to do stuff, you know, and they jumping on the album. Ice Cube is getting on there, E40 is getting on there, like, you know, being in the studio with Jazzy Faye, like all these people is just like, and I'm playing them different beats and I'm playing them like all different types of stuff across the spectrum. They're like, yo, first thing they say, who you signed to? I'm not signing nobody. Yo, you got placements? A couple. Yo, who you got? Who your manager? Like, it's just like,
right.
It's like you're a free agent, right? And you're just floating in a free agency pool with a bunch of other free agent producers trying to get picked up by a team, you know? Do you got the speed? Have you been conditioning? How long you been training? Like, how long are you in the gym putting in that work, you know? Like, don't nobody care if you know the circle of the fifths or music theory to the T. No one cares about that. If you can create a vibe that's gonna sell, that's what they're looking for. If you can't create a hit, then you I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
Because if you got to spend 2 hours just working on a melody or something, they expect 30 minutes or less. The songwriter, by the time you start making the drum, they writing. Songwriters is writing.
Oh, so this is live and active when you're making these beats and for these artists.
I start with melodies first.
Okay.
I start with melodies first because I'm quick.
Yeah.
There's the melody. What type of beat we want? What BPM we looking for? What we making? I rub my hands together like this because that's the nervousness I'm rubbing out. I always rub my hands together like this. And they like, why you over there plotting, Liz? I'm like, yo, I'm just getting the nervous out. I'm ready to go.
You get your hands warmed up.
I do that every time. And I'm in a session, a big session. You know, I'm rubbing the nervous out and I'm just getting ready to rock, you know? So when it's time to go, I got my MacBook open, plugged in through the aux to the big boards, big speakers, everything. They're like, all right, yo, got a little keyboard plugged up, playing some sounds. Ooh, I like that sound. Let's go with it. All right, what kind of vibes we going with? Yo, let me, this play, bro. Don't just play. Just do what you do. So I'm like, and playing stuff. Nothing crazy. Playing basic stuff. Because I know on the hit, keep it, less is more with a hit.
Less is more, okay.
So I'm playing this stuff that sounds familiar, you know, and just going up and down the regular, whatever. I ain't really no super, you know, theorized musician, Juilliard or, you know, whatever. I'm not that type.
You know the octaves. You know how to play with different octaves and same key and all that stuff. Yeah.
From guitar, yes. Learning that from guitar, I do know the notes.
Okay, yeah.
So yes, but it's just like when people are like, all right, bro, let's play in C sharp or C standard or, you know, drop D or this or whatever. I'm like, all right, let's get it. I know what to do with that, you know. So somebody might be singing, you know, or doing this, and they're singing and this. They're like, yo, take that bell out. All right, boom, it's gone. We got the drums in there. Now we're past that 30 minutes because now we know within that 30 minutes, I done cooked up a fire beat with the melody and everything, and they didn't already wrote a hook. Now they're on the verse. So
that's
like,
incredible.
They're like, all right, now we need you to do this. Switch this up. Switch this section. And make it like a bridge. Like keep the 808s there, but take this out and that out, and like throw like a lush pad in it. They will tell you, and it's fast, and you got to know what you're doing because it's like, dang, like I've literally been in sessions and like, yo, that ain't it. Yo, you know what?
How did that make you feel?
Not to me. They
tell
okay. Other producers.
Okay.
They're like, cause they've been collabing, and it's like, yo. The worst thing that I've seen is like two producers that's a production team, them collab, and they completely crash out because they don't know they working together and they chemistry and that's outside of the studio. They bring it in there, but it don't work because it's like this. So they're like, yo, they're like trying to figure it out. Unless that's what they do, there's a problem there. You know? And like my friend, and like my homie Bolo said, like 99% of producers is not gonna make it. That 1% is gonna make it.
What's that take?
Like basically, it's like 1%. The 1% is the people that's really driven. The people that accepts the no's, that accepts the, all right, you still need to keep working. That other 99% is pride. My beat's hard. Like my shit go hard. Like they got a placement. They think that that's the end all, because they just got a placement. But like, what that upfront money looking like? How much you make? 2,500, 5 bands. What that back end looking like? You know, what you getting off of that? $60, and then they making $60,000 off it, and they getting $60,000 checks every quarter, and you getting $60 every quarter. So was it worth taking that $5,000 up front? Because to me, it's not. So I'm like, hey, bro, you got to figure that out. So
you're saying that producers that, because I kind of talked with this with Sandman just a little bit. It's like producers that think they have it all right then and there, and there's no growth, but they're the bomb right there, and like they don't take constructive criticism, or they don't listen to other people's advice. Those are
it's not just that. It's like I said, like Bolo said. One, you need to get a hit. Once you get that hit, then You got 4 years to make some noise. And in that 4 years, you need to make some noise. I'm talking about Metro Boomin type noise. I'm talking about like ATL Jacob type noise. You know, I'm talking about like all of this. You only got 4 years because like Bolo said, the typical lifespan in the NFL as a running back is 4 years. When you come from college, you go to the NFL, you get drafted. They always need fresh bodies, so they always gonna look for the new hotness. So if you're not up to speed and able to keep up, then you're doomed already. You gotta be, unless you're able to engineer or DJ or do something like that, you're gonna have to get a day job and keep it going. And he kept it real when he spoke on that. You can literally go watch that interview.
Yeah, I'll do that for sure.
Bolo, the producer, he literally broke it down. He's like, yo, I'm gonna keep it transparent. 99% of y'all are not gonna make it as producers because like you need to be able to know how to market your music, how to like not be a bot, how to not use AI in your music, and understand the concept of the less is more. Because he produced Salento, Watch Me Whip, Watch Me Nay Nay. That record is huge. He's still getting a check to this day. That paid for all of his bills. You know, but he's got his YouTube and that's paying him. So that's why it's like the Ying Yang Twins, it's gonna go crazy. I already know. The NFL money, that's gonna go crazy. I already know. I'm being patient. I sell beats. Yeah, I sell beats. I do fine for that. But I need more. You feel me? Like,
right.
Like I've gotten my credit score up to where I want it to be because we fit in the mood of New York in the next like 2 years.
That's fantastic.
Upstate New York.
Yeah.
So like we've been house shopping, you know, and just putting stuff in and putting work in. And I'm just like, you know, that's our goal.
Right.
And I want to be able to put like 100,000 down and 200,000 down and be good, or just buy the joint. I don't care. You know, we'll sell this house because the market value for this house right now is almost 400,000, as is right now. So,
and that's more than what you bought the house for. So you put money into it.
We bought this house for 150,000.
Oh wow! Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! That's awesome.
It's because Lionsgate Studio is literally right up the street.
Okay.
The Stranger Things arcade is literally up the street. They shoot movies out here all the time. So the value, like people look, we get like letters from people all the time asking, "Yo, you guys interested in selling your house?" Mm-hmm. All the time, all the time. So I'm like, it's got to be for the right price. Now, somebody coming talking about like 600K or something, we might have that conversation.
Yeah, you had that big conversation. Yeah, absolutely. Because you got the land in there too, and all the amenities and everything around there. Absolutely.
Like I built my whole the studio, everything. We got a brand new roof on there. We got like a screened in porch, brand new front stair, all that.
Yeah, you'll get all that back.
Yeah, so I'm just patiently waiting, you know, because I'm ready to go. You know, honestly, like I'm ready to go. Like I love Atlanta to death. It's treating me well, but I'm just like, yo, New York City is where I have to be because the type of sound that I got, that's where I have to be. You know, and I work with a lot of upstate like artists, like Millie's. He has a lot of beats that I've sent. Jada Kiss. They got a lot of beats. So like, it's just like I make. And even the way that I am, like I'm an up north guy, you know.
So you like all that snow? That's another thing.
Yeah,
the snow.
Snow. I'd rather be locked in the house with a snow falling, making beats, than this sweltering heat.
Yeah, you wouldn't make it in Arizona for sure. Or out here in California, maybe.
Yeah. I got them tarantulas. I can keep all that. Keep all that.
Right.
I ain't messing with that. You know? So like I'm just like the crazy thing is also like facing your fears with music. And I use that a lot. I'm like, I ask people, I'm like, yo, what is your biggest fear? What's your
Gotta
biggest
be
fear?
failure. It's gotta be failure. People saying their speech suck.
No.
It ain't?
That's too cliche.
Okay. Okay.
I'm talking about like the phobias. That's what we go by. We call it. In the industry, they call it the phobias. They're like, the phobias. You got the phobias.
Mhm.
Okay, so what is it? Is it agoraphobia? Is it this type of phobia? Like, are you afraid to be outside too much? Are you afraid of traveling? Like are you afraid of spiders? Are you afraid of small spaces? Like, what is your fear? And face it, because that'll unlock a whole new, different skill in your mind. Me, it was arachnophobia. I had the biggest fear of spiders
Yeah.
ever, because as a kid, my friend Jericho, he had a house and his dad collected a lot of exotic animals. He had snakes, beautiful snakes, lizards. He had the craziest tarantulas I've ever seen in my life. He had a tarantula. It looked like it was like way bigger than my hand.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think that was illegal. It was illegal because it was like literally a Brazilian bird-eating spider. Like, it was like that. It was like
Yeah,
that
absolutely not. Nope.
So he thought it was a good idea. I was in a sleeping bag. You know, in sleeping bags, they can zip them up. So they thought it'd be funny to zip the sleeping bag up and put one of those travel locks on it.
Oh
So
my God.
I'm in the sleeping bag shimmying. So I felt something on my chest, like I thought somebody was like waking me up. But it was that big ass tarantula. I looked and I saw it all.
It was in.
shining. No,
Oh
it was
no.
on. He put it on top of the sleeping bag. I stayed still, and it was just look. It can't see, but it has eyes. It can only go off moving. My heart was racing. So like, it went like this, real quick to the left side. Like, I'm like, oh my God. And then it came up here, and I was like trying to like shoot. Like, I'm starting to go, like I shouldn't have done that. And I went like that, and it raised up, and I saw it. It like the fangs under that thing was so monstrous. I never in my life saw a spider's fangs. Like, I only saw that like on anacondas or something.
Yeah.
To see that on a tarantula was the craziest thing I ever faced in my life.
That is terrifying.
It raised up. I saw its underbelly. I saw everything. It was just like, at the same time, it was so scary but fascinating, because I've never, like, you'll see like a wolf spider or whatever, and they look a little scary because they look like drawing. The wolf spiders remind me of like drones, you know, because they're skinny and tactical, but they don't mess with you. They'll kill all the stuff around. As long as you don't mess with them. They could be like this big, but just don't mess with them.
Right.
You know, so like, you know, literally, it was like when it raised up like that, and it went like this. It did this. It did like a. People think that spiders, they hiss. They don't. They make a noise which is called stridulation. And what stridulation is, and crickets do this too. Crickets do it to make their noise, right? That's where their sound comes from, and the sound is vibration from the friction. So that, but they have the way that you have to look it up. But
what they doing it for?
To make their noise. That's how they communicate.
To tell you not to move, or they're gonna strike?
No, crickets do that to communicate. So that's why when you hear the crickets, they're all doing that in unison. That's why you get that noise. That's why crickets sound like that. Because it's called stridulation. Now, with tarantulas, when they do it, it's a defensive mechanism.
That's what I'm talking about.
So when it did it, it sounds like a hiss because they got hair on them, and it's really quick, and it's like it sounds like that. So it was so close to me, that it could have blinded me, because it can't, though the hairs can blind you
Yeah.
if they get, but it only got in my nose area before he picked it up and removed it, because he saw it in a defensive
Mm-hmm.
a striking stance, and he realized it wasn't a joke anymore. So he picked it up, and it only did it for a second. I had the worst. I was like swollen, like my nose was like leaking so much mucus. I have never in my life leaked that much like my eyes. I was crying for like 2 days, because literally I went to the doctor and they were like, like they looked at my nostrils and they were so inflamed. They were like it looks like, they asked me if I did like cocaine, because the way that it was so inflamed
Yeah.
from the tarantula hairs is like really bad. Like, and there, those hairs, like they have like these little like jagged things in them.
Mm-hmm.
So they shot saline solution in them, and they were like twisted, and it just felt
Oh,
like,
so you can see the little hairs.
so
The doctor.
it just felt like 1,000 shards of glass in my nose. Like I was like, yo, that was painful. And like I literally got in a fight with the dude, because I was like, bro, like that was not cool, yo. Like that was not cool. So like I faced my fear. I went to a pet store. I held a tarantula, let it crawl up on me, and stuff like that, and let it, do its thing. And I was like, these are unique creatures, and I had to face that fear. Because if I didn't face that fear, I wouldn't be able to go to the places that I wanted to go, like Australia or
Australia. Hell yeah, Australia.
And it's like, you have to face those fears to understand these different things. And that's why when you do that with music, no one can tell you shit, because you understand. I faced these fears. Some people have a fear of seeing doctors, white coat syndrome. Some people have fears of needles. Some people have fears of, there's millions of things people are afraid of. Some people wake up with hypochondria every day. The way, oh my goodness, my heart's racing. Am I going to die? Like, yeah. People, it's like everybody has these different fears. But when you apply it to music, and if it, is paralyzing you from creating, then you have to face whatever fear is, holding you back. And I always say, like, I do meditation, and I learned it from an artist who I produced a lot of records for. He's on the Calm app. His name's Bornai. He does a lot of like pranayama exercises, and sound baths and stuff like that. So, he's taught me a lot of different exercises.
So is he into the law of assumption and the law of attraction and all that kind of stuff too?
All that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, spiritual.
So he's very spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
So we're working on Koma Rebbe Part 2. It's a different, project of enlightenment, and it's like it's just really dope. So like we've been putting in a lot of work. I produced that sound for him, and it's just like he wrote a book. And it's just awesome, so like, once I overcame that fear of spiders, I was able to just go crazy with different things. And I felt like the phobias, no one really checks the phobias.
Right.
Because it's such a relieving feeling. Like, it's like, if you always think about something, like people go in their basement and like, yo, is there like a spider around? Like, or is there like a rat around? Or is there like something rodent? Like, they freak out about stuff like that. And that's where the overthinking process comes into play. Because subconsciously, when they're creating, they're still thinking about that. And that's what gets in the way. Because then it's like, they take that and they put it to, wow, am I doing too much on this beat? Oh, wow, am I mixing it too much? It's like, just create. Because at the end of the day, if the beat gets placed, you got to give the stems to the engineer anyway. That's just how it goes. And I always go to the song with Trippie Redd and Playboy Cardi. What is the song called? I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
It is the mix on that song is horrible, but it's one of the highest charted songs ever. Like, just off the faith alone, that is Playboy Cardi, Young Thug, and Trippie Redd, and like the song mixing it. These kids don't care; they just want something to hit,
Right.
and a slam in the block. Like, if you trying to appeal to like all the old heads and stuff, then like you might be in trouble, unless it's like somebody that's super accomplished and is relevant and that's working with and can keep up, you know. But if you're like trying to understand and keep up with the youth, you need to not try to dress like the youth. Mentally, you just need to understand the sound.
What's that sound? Is it like is it continuous hook? Like Waka Flocka and all that.
Well, right now they're trying to do this 80s sound, and it's like
I love the 80s so much though.
Yeah, but me too. But here's the thing. Tory Lane, so with Tyga, right? He's going by like Starface, right? And he's doing this whole like Jerry curl, like 80s, like, you know, type of vibe. But Tory Lanez he already did that.
Yeah.
He already did that.
And did Anderson Pop too and all that, right? With the 70s and stuff.
Yeah, he did the 80s vibe. It was the high school prom heartbreak type vibe, and it was charted way crazy. You know, I even sent beats for that project. They didn't get picked, but I sent beats in for that project.
Right.
So like, the thing is, seeing Tyga do this, everyone is like, Tory Lanez did it first. He did this first. But then everyone comes back and they're like, no, well, The Weeknd did it first. And then it's just like, no, The Weeknd didn't do this. He did this and executed it this way. He didn't do it this way. He didn't dress in Jerry curl and 80s and turn it into like the teenage werewolf and did this whole thing with. He was
more smooth with it.
The Weeknd was suave, you know, and just like Silk Sonic, they were suave with what they did. You know what I'm saying? They had that vintage sound, and they were their own entity. But it's just like all of these people. It's just
the whole
like,
outfits and everything.
It's just a revolving door. These same things are coming around. Next thing you know, everyone gonna be rapping on 90s beats again. Like, everyone's gonna be rapping on 90s beats again. Then that whole early 2000s vibe gonna come back around. You know, it's just a revolving door. That's all it is. That's all it is.
So how do you feel about that? You feel like we should get out of that and create like a new sound to appeal to the younger generation?
My thing is, everything in music has been maxed out. It's just being recycled now.
I feel that too.
If you go and listen to Bach or Beethoven and you listen beyond the essence of the strings and stuff like that, you'll hear what's going on, like in today's stuff. You'll literally hear it and you'll be like, I've heard that before. This sounds very familiar. And that's not you just saying that off of a coincidence. It's your mind understanding that, okay, this has been done in like a Katy Perry song, or this has been done in a Beyonce song, or, you know, like, or like a Timbaland or whoever. It's been done before, you know? Yeah. So like all of these things, they just lead back to the same root.
Well, what can you do? Because there's only 12 notes. There's so many genres. There's so many ideas.
They all still, even in trap, that you're still, what's my age again? My Blink-182, you still hear that. It's just in a different form. It's just in a different, octave. It's still there. It might be a faster pace, but it's still there. Like Cut Myself Into Pieces by Papa Roach is still there. It's still, all of these things are still there. and I listen to a lot of heavy metal.
Oh,
And so like there's a lot of things that are there, but like it's just different movements and it's different octaves and scales, like, but it all is still there. If you strip it all away and open it, you'll see the realm, and it's like everything is just still right there. Like I couldn't even tell you like how much everything just sounds so much the same, but it's so different. It's wild. Because
And
think
you
of
know-
it this way. Think of it this way, right?
uh-huh.
If you go to Italy, right, and you go to like, you get on a gondola, you go to a restaurant, they've made the lasagna noodles, you know, by hand. They didn't use any store-bought stuff, you know. They took the bread and they did it all, rolled it up, put it through the presser, you know, designed it, laid it all out, took the meat, cut it, got it all fresh, you know, everything together. They used the sausage and everything, put it together. They got the ricotta, they put that together, seasoned it to a T. That format is like a classical format, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when you go to like a format here, these days someone's gonna go, I'll go get like a Michelangelo's, or I'll go get like a Stouffer's or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing, it's just different.
Right.
But it's not, so it's just like, okay, the way that they make it in Italy, that's like a complete producer that knows everything. I mean, I'm talking about they can go from here to there in 0 to 100. The people that are throwing the shit in the microwave and they're putting it on 6 minutes and just letting it spin around, those are like the loopers, the beat makers. Those aren't producers, they're beat makers. There's a difference.
Yeah.
The beat makers are, you know, drag and droppers. You know, they're taking a loop from Splice, they're dragging it and dropping it and playing Legos. You know, they're not building erector sets, they're playing Legos. It's a difference, you know? Because with an erector set, you really have to build each piece, put the bolts together. You're building something that's structural and complex, right? That's the difference. If you just want to sit there and look at a manual, i.e. YouTube, and put the Legos together and you're just looking at something, or you choose to trace something, like a tattoo artist, they'll trace an image and you want to trace something as opposed to freehanding it and being nice like that.
Right.
It's the same thing.
But you can't be expected to be called a music producer if you're doing the loops. And that's what I was explaining. Well, I wasn't explaining to Sandman, but I asked, I go back to that interview too. It's like, you know, what's the originality of making music and then coming onto a show like the Gauntlet and stuff like that? Then I explained to him, like, can you use those loops, but splice it up how you want to use it? Okay, not use the whole, like, don't use the entire loop. Put it together, use some other drums, build your own drums on top of that, put your own pads from, like, say, Alchemy from Logic, and is that considered music production versus looping? Because you're not taking different loops and just stacking them.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, both things can be true. Like, so here's the thing. When Run That Back Turbo, he did Drip Too Hard.
I love Turbo.
Yeah, he did Drip Too Hard.
Uh-huh.
That was a splice loop on Splice. He just detuned it. He detuned it.
Okay. Yeah.
That guitar,
Uh-huh.
he did not change. All he did was detune it and threw some hard drums on it.
Yeah.
Like, that was it. People can say, oh, that's not whatever. It's a hit. At the end of the day, it's a hit. Like, if you want to be super controversial and go, oh, well, I'd rather sit here all fucking day, sorry, but sit here all day and, you know, go off of this faith of, I gotta sit here and learn how to do this and this and this.
Original, yeah.
Bro, there's a reason why music progresses. There's a reason why they drop new iPhones every year. There's a reason why they come out with new products for the future. And there's a reason why in the 80s, the music was some of the best music made in the 70s, 60s, 80s, those eras. That's because they were on tape. They knew that they had a limited amount of time. They knew they couldn't keep messing up on all its tape. It's expensive then.
It's very expensive, yeah.
So there's a reason why all of those things existed that way. Do you think that same thing applies today? No. Why? Because you can open Pro Tools up. Oh, I messed up. You'll spend 5 hours on a mess up, on a verse. I've seen it happen. You can't do that on tape. You pull tape out, you gotta get it right. Like, there's a difference.
Yeah.
Can you use a loop and make a banger? Absolutely. Like, does it go against the integrity of some producers in the producer community? Absolutely.
I think that's what makes people afraid. I think that's what makes people afraid.
They feel like it's a cheat code, but at the same time, both things can be true. Because if it becomes a hit and it's viral, you can argue till you're blue in the face, but it's not. They're successful, and you're sitting here arguing with them when you could be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But if your integrity is getting too much in your way, you kind of gotta. Here's my thing about that. You have to accept things and go about it the right way. There's a wrong way to do it, and there's the right way to do it. A lot of producers now are doing it the wrong way, which is they're making everything, and then they might take a couple instruments and throw it in Suno. And then they're throwing it in Suno, and it'll spit something out, and they're like, oh, that's sick. They won't change it. You feel what I'm saying? Like they won't change it at all.
That ain't gonna fly.
So this is the thing though. For me, as someone who's been producing for music for years, I have a unique perspective on AI because I've actually had artists send me sessions to mix that's contained AI generated instrumentals.
How did you feel? Because there's a lot of controversy about that right now.
And I'm not just talking about a stereo beat. I mean full stems.
Oh no.
But once I started pulling them apart and let's pulling the beat apart, because the beat together, it sounds okay. But it's like when I pull it apart and I got the stems, all of the frequency, strange frequency changes, the build-ups, the unnatural transitions, like the artificial, like it sounds like so like it's
zeros
like,
and ones and ones and zeros.
You're taking you're taking a song and you're using a stem separator basically. It's not clean stems. It's not clean stems, and that's where they're getting caught up. And I'm not nobody to tattletale on. I'm just like, hey, I mixed this record in because some people will be like, yo, why does it sound like something's crackling in it? Why did my voice sounds fire, but in the beat it's like the beat sounds dull and it sounds like this and that. Hey, who did you get the beat from? Well, I got it from this producer and yada yada yada, and they sold me the exclusive rights and yada yada yada. How much did you buy the beat for? Well, they sold me this beat because they said they played all of these things. And how much did you pay for the beat? Man, I paid like $2,500 for the beat. You got the exclusive rights.
You gotta be no.
Yeah, I got the exclusive rights, the paperwork and everything, and I own all the stems. Not really. I mean, they say that, but AI generates from millions of artists. So ideally, they've taken something from somebody else and just made this patty a mess and threw it on the air fryer. And, you know, so in reality, you don't really own it, like, because it's somebody else's work that's been spit out in a different variation, you know, and you can clearly hear it. So it's like it's a double-edged sword, because now what's going on is they'll use these producers are using AI a little bit, but that little bit will trip you up, because what's going on now is the AI that they're using. These industry people are using AI detective tools now, which can detect artifacts in the music, which means they might still use it, but you'll get no royalties for it.
Which is, I think that's proper. I think that's right. I think to say you're a music producer, for one, to do something like that, do you think you think there's a lack of integrity there? Like, how do you not feel a certain way by putting this music out? Is it because they can make quick money off of it and that's all they're worried about? They're not worried about originality?
I just, you know,
some mentality behind that. Like, because I know I couldn't do that.
You know, I call it the PPP, which is the prompt producer propaganda. And that's a thing of like, let me type into Suno, okay, make me a beat at 140 BPM. Make it in this, make it in C. Or actually, let's back up right quick. Let me open up ChatGPT.
I love ChatGPT though.
No, I love ChatGPT. Don't get me wrong. Open up ChatGPT. How can I ask Suno to make me a beat like whoever artist they're looking to try and make a beat like? And ChatGPT is going to say, okay, here's a prompt to put in there. They'll copy and paste that, put it into Suno, and there you go. Crazy, right? Yeah.
So can you get some of this AI music off of YouTube? So when you're copying the URL and you're putting it into like a MP3, like converting it into an MP3, can an artist accidentally use something that's AI off of YouTube and not know it?
Absolutely. That's
so scary. That's
absolutely
when all you're trying to do is sample, because that's
absolutely.
A lot of us are brought up on sampling.
Absolutely.
You know?
And here's the thing about it is AI is, you know, the AI generated music and questions, you know, surrounding the royalties, ownership, and copyright is becoming so much more important. I think that we're heading into a future where transparency matters, because can AI be a useful tool?
Yes.
It can.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I don't believe it replaces the human element. The emotion, the intent, the craftsmanship that come from an artist or a producer creating something from scratch. It cannot do that. You're getting something and it's sounding like, to the point where it's like all of it's, you can tell it's an artificial beat. It's like,
Yeah. What's crazy is some of these young artists not bite because they're young and maybe they're naive or they haven't been around, there's no experience. They might not be able to hear what you can hear that's been, and you've been producing for over 20 something years.
Yeah.
And that's can be, obviously that can be a problem.
Yeah.
You know, because they just want to get out there and rap. Now they're running into some legal issues because they think they're going to put out a song that's going to make all this royalty and they're not getting it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's incredibly sad.
It's getting real. They're cracking down real hard on it. you know. So,
You see that when you go to the Gauntlet Beat Battle, and I've seen you judge like this before, and I love it.
yeah.
You'll let us know if our songs sound the same. You know what I mean? You'll be like, man, this one, and it's good because we need that feedback.
Yeah, I'm with me, like, I can't hide anything. I have to be honest with people, because
Yeah.
when I always revert back to the producer battle when I went to New York, and I was at Webster Hall in New York, and I was there, right? And I waited like 2 hours to sit down with Timbaland's people. I was so hyped that I got to sit down with them. We talked a little bit. I was like, yeah, I'm from Virginia. It was like, what part? I was like, you know, the Tidewater area, Charlottesville. It was like, oh, okay, that's what's up, you know? So instantly I thought it was a click. So going into the first beat, I played 5 beats. Going into the first beat, I made these horns. And I mean, I spent hours trying to humanize these horns. As soon as the beat came on, he was like, this joint cool. What stock sound you use? I was like,
Yep, they have to be. Ooh.
I said, I kind of scoffed, and I was like, I really worked hard on the horns. He was like, well, what did you do exactly? And I explained it, and he was like, well, I didn't hear any sustain in it. I didn't hear like any kind of nuances in it, because if you're gonna play like a horn or a trumpet, there's certain nuances in it that aren't like in a VST. So you have to be able to. And I said, wow, you're right.
Crazy.
So that was like my first thing that humbled me. Then I played another beat, and I was like, oh, I know they're gonna love this beat. It was like a Timbaland type beat, and he was like, this one is really good, but this has been done before. I was like, ah, man. So like out of those 5 beats, they liked like 1 of 5 beats, and they didn't like select me for a callback or nothing. Mind you, I drove all the way up to New York for that. So
Did you feel crushed?
yeah, I was like, wow. And I was like, man, this is crazy. So I just drove up there, and then I got back in my car, and I drove back to Virginia. And I thought that whole way, I just
Right.
kept hearing that this has been done before. That sounds like a stock sound. Like that's all I kept hearing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that changed me. So like as a producer, going and being the judge, and I'm like, some people they may approach Sandman because he's approachable, but they might not approach me because it's just the way that I carry myself. And some people think that I'm a very like abrasive person, or they're afraid of hearing more negative things. But I promise you I'm not, you know. But they'll say, yo, why is Lynn like this or this and this? I'm like, yo, come ask me that. Why are you asking Sandman? Ask Linz Prag. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, like that's the thing that I kind of laugh at, because I'm like, you know, it's not nobody's fault, but I'm like, you know, Sandman, he has this aura of like, you know, this, it's just a very friendly aura. But with me, with all the things that I've been through, I'm just like, I'm gonna tell you, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Completely. Like, I don't like it. You know, Nightlife, he's the same way. Focus is the same way. You know, it's just everyone. It's just how you accept it. You know, it may be a little abrasive. It may come across a little disrespectful, but at the end of the day, I say, you know, you did a good job. Much respect. Feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to help. I don't hear
Me-
nothing from them people, and that's okay because it's no sweat off my back. I promise
You
you.
can't control how other people feel. That's what I was saying before. Like, you can't control other people's feelings, how they think, because it comes from how somebody takes your criticism. It comes from their upbringing,
Right.
their way of thinking. If they're pessimistic, that ain't got nothing to do with you. If people are more optimistic, they might see it a little bit different. So you can't control that aspect of it. When you're listening to these beats, I'll ask you a few more questions and stuff like that. I know. When you're listening to these beats and stuff from all these different music producers, because it's for the producers and stuff, do you feel like you're hearing the same things out of us producers, or are you
And the Gauntlet,
yeah.
I feel like I've heard the maximum ceiling of what's been done already. And I feel like once you hit that ceiling, it's going to take a lot to burst through that ceiling. Like, I mean, you have to do something completely unorthodox that I completely would be like, whoa. I mean, there's some wow factor in the records, but it's just like, I've heard it all before already. I know that there's going to be a dope sample in there. I know that the drums are going to be dope. I know that at some point there's going to be a transition and a dope drop flip. I just know these things. I know that there's going to be a beat where it might not start on the one. It might start this way.
Talking about the
hit you
kick.
straight. Yeah, it might start out of nowhere. The beat might sound like it's doing this, circling around, or running away from itself and then catching back up to itself, or playing tag. And that's cool. I've heard it done before though, you know, and I'm like, for me as a judge, I'm like, I'll judge it to the best of my ability, you know? But with electronic music, it's like, at this point, I'm like, everyone always thinks like, oh man, Linz is gonna go crazy because they're playing electronic music, but that's not the case. Like, I don't just produce electronic music, I produce everything.
I've heard you produce country. Yeah,
that's what I think people really realize, is that I've been labeled as like this EDM producer, and I don't like that, you know, because you can go to my page and you won't hear anything EDM. You don't hear anything EDM on my page, you know. So I'm like, yo, like, I don't like being labeled an EDM producer, but I guess from my accolades and my accomplishments in that genre, I guess people just automatically default to that, and that's okay. I'm not mad at them for that. But
So what do you want to be remembered as? Like, what is it like, and what do you want producers to start doing to sound different or to stand out? Since we're on that topic too.
I just want to be remembered as a super producer, you know, because the thing is, not all producers play instruments. That's one thing that I've learned, is like, if you're going to be a monster, you need to have at least one instrument under your belt. I don't care if it's violin, I don't care if it's mandolin, I don't care if it's keyboard, I don't care if it's guitar, bass, whatever. You need to have an instrument under your belt to understand, to feel the music. Because
That's cool.
when you put your hands on an instrument and you create sound, it is not the same as going into a computer and doing it.
Yeah.
When you play an instrument and you create the sound, there's nothing like that.
Even playing with your MIDI?
MIDI's okay, but it's still not like a real synthesizer. A real synthesizer, I'm talking about, you're using like a Moog Sub 37, and it's got all the knobs, and you're able to switch the oscillators and turn the cutoffs off, and you know, you can play with the keys and mess with the aftertouch and use the mod wheel. and do all of these different things that you can't do. Both
Here's
things
for
can be
fears.
true on a MIDI, but
And-
it's not going to translate the same as the hardware. You feel what I'm saying? Because hardware matters. You know, hardware matters. So when I pick up my guitars, each one has a different character. Each one does different things. I'm like, okay, I feel like playing metal, I'm gonna pull out my seven string. Feel like playing super death metal, I'm gonna pull out my 8 string. If I feel like playing progressive metal, I'm gonna pull out my 6 string. You know, or if I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna play, you know, like some pop funk, I'm gonna pull out my Fender Stratocaster or blues.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do. Like every instrument serves its purpose. In music, you just have to know which instruments serve their purpose, because I can guarantee you, 8 out of 10 producers going into the studio session, they ain't playing no instrument. They only know how to point and click, and they can point and click their ass off to a Grammy, and that's cool. Nothing against that, but at the same time, can you be an Anderson .Paak? You know, can you be a Childish Gambino? You know, can you be a Ludwig? You know, can you be all of these things? You know, so like it's just you know, it's just different traits. It's either you got it or you don't. You know, that's it. You know, and that's part of that 1%. Is because I turned down a job as a guitar tech for Frankie Beverly and Maze. And the reason I had to turn down this job,
That's a big joint.
was because my daughter, I didn't know when she was going to be born. And the tour started in May. From May to August, it was $3,500 a night. $3,500 a night. Per night. From May to August.
I had to do the math on.
That's over 30,000.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Just to take the guitar, make sure the guitar is in tune, make sure that if a string breaks, you can put the string. That's the thing about being a musician, is musicians play instruments. Artists are vocalists or rappers, and they play instruments, or they do both. Both things can be true. Producers, they can play instruments, they can also program, and maybe engineer. But these are the things. Beat makers strictly are just point and clickers, and they drag and drop, and that's it. And do they make hits? Yes. Do some of them get Grammys? Yes. You know?
Think that's fair?
Honestly, it's not about being fair. It's about how you play your cards right. Because imagine, let's go back to that time crunch thing. Yo, bro, we need to sound like this. They going on splicing their headphones. What we looking for? We need something 90 BPM. They'll go in and splice. You can literally size it down to 90 BPM. What's the what key range we looking for? C. All right, C, filter C, 90 BPM. They're gonna give you a whole slew of things in Spice. Okay, I got this piano. Do you play it? Oh, that's dope. Can you slow it down? Yeah, time stretch. Boom.
So easy. Yeah. Yeah.
People, this industry moves so fast, they're not waiting for somebody to be super whimsical and all across the key. They don't got time for that. No one's attention span these days is when you're on TikTok and you look at something, oh, I thought that was going to be cooler, scroll. Oh, I thought that was going to be cooler, skip. No one has to be instant. Things have to
So it's a
grab your
culture
attention.
too. It's not just based
This
off
with-
skills.
this
You're
with
feeding a
everything.
culture.
It's with
Yeah.
everything. everything. When I used to open shows up in EDM, I had this big cinematic intro where it just boom, big thunderous boom. Like, where the fuck did that come from? No one knows what happened. I had a voiceover. I did a voiceover, detuned it like you hear in theaters and trailers, and did all of that because I'm able to do that. I got the ear for it. You gotta have the ear for it. You gotta have the passion for it, and you gotta really want this, not for the money. You gotta want to do this because you want to do this. Not just, is the money fun and good? Yeah, of course.
Everybody wants to eat.
But don't quit your day job, yeah.
Yes.
You know? Because you don't know where that hit coming from. That hit might be 10 years away, 20 years away. You could die tomorrow. It's just a reality. The thing is crazy. You know, so that's why I'm just like, you gotta do what you gotta do, and don't be wishing and hoping on a prayer all the time. You gotta go for it. People, that's what people be messing. They be wishing and hoping too much
instead of actually doing the actions to do it.
Oh man, I sent this beat back off to such and such, man, and I just hope they use this joint because it's so fire. People be saying that shit for years. Oh, these beats go crazy. 2015. Yo, this joint gonna go crazy. 2025. This joint in the vault, but it's still gonna go crazy. When? It's still in the vault. Come on now. I'm just saying. People gotta get with the program. They really want it. You gotta really want this. And you can't just jump into it just thinking, oh, I'm gonna get a bag or I'm gonna get a placement. You gotta really put in that work and rub elbows with people.
So actually put yourself.
You know that cliche saying? It's not all about what you know, it's all about who you know. That shit is real.
So you're saying for producers or even beat makers that want to evolve and stuff, put yourself out there. Talk to people. Send your stuff off. Don't always keep it in your vault.
Unless you're like a Nepo baby like Billie Eilish and her brother, because their parents were in the film industry. They already had it made, and they basically force-fed their music down people's throat.
Yeah.
And paid people to. I'm not going to get into that, but that's a whole different thing.
Right.
But these things happen. I mean, look at Northwest. Her music is not the greatest, but she's on tours doing everything. And she's, 13, 14? And there are people out here talented times a million that can't even pack a room of 50 people. It's all about who you know. I don't care if you went to Juilliard or you went to, the school of music or whatever. You're not around, Clive Davis ain't here no more. A lot of these big time people, they not here no more. They done passed it on to their nieces and nephews now. They rich now. They got the labels. They young. They know what they want now. They want to hear the young bebops and whatever. Go make some K-pop shit. Make some pop stuff. Make some K-pop trap. Demon Hunters winning Grammys off of animated characters on Netflix. Why aren't you making that? Why are you still making trap beats? People too stubborn. They don't ever want to get with the program.
Right. So you got to pay attention to everything that's going on. Okay. I'm going to ask one fun question for you. Now, I ask the same fun question for everybody. It's always about food.
Okay.
But I'm going to switch it up a little bit.
All right.
What's one beat that you've made that still gives you chills to this day when you listen to it? It's my fun question.
That's a really good question.
It might be 10, 10 of your songs. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I
Got you
really
tripped
don't.
up.
I really don't have like. I think that I've reached a point to where I've produced so many records that give you chills or raise the hairs on your arms.
Mm-hmm. They're cinematic.
That it's not. My beats don't give me chills. I have to hear somebody on it for it to give me chills. And that's and those things make sense because when you hear your beat or you make something masterful, it could be the most beautiful thing in the world, but is it complete? Because is it dope? Are you running around the room like, oh yeah, this is it? Cool. But with somebody on it, that's when I get chills. Hearing the Ying Yang Twins and hearing somebody on my record, it's like, wow, like that's what's giving me chills. And it's not R&B or it's because it's legends, you know, like it's just different. So do my beats give me chills? No. As a complete song, yes.
I like that.
Yes.
That's a good answer.
As a complete song, yes. As my song because here's the thing, it's in stages. You start at stage 1, your thoughts. Stage 2, you move it to your DAW and you create the music. Stage 3 is of your choosing. Do you want it to be a beat and it sits or sell it? Or do you want to get it placed and somebody's good on it? Those are things that matter. So it's like, wow, like I never thought that this person would get on my record, or I never thought that this would happen, or this is insane that, you know, this person wants me to do this for them. You know, so it's like these things matter. But to answer the question, my beats don't give me chills. The songs that are complete, they give me chills. Because that's the reality of it. Like some people will make a beat and you might not get chills, but somebody else might because yeah, you made the beat, but you're probably numb from hearing it so much that when somebody might have been going through something and they hear that beat and they're like, yo, this joint giving me chills, yo. Because it's like, it's not the same set of ears. It's a different set of ears that's hearing that. You know, it's not you. You might be like, that beat's cool, whatever. They're like, nah, you're not hearing it like I'm hearing it. This joint, the way them strings came in, and the way that bass line came in is like, yo, like I don't know what was you thinking when you made that? Like why does it go so hard like that? Like why is it like this joint crazy? It's like you're not thinking about that because at that point in time, you're just creating. Like unless you really like are going through something and you're making it and it really has to hit you or hit a nerve a certain way and it's reminiscent with you, then and it might give you chills. Everyone is different, but to me, my beats, my production, it doesn't give me chills because I feel like I've reached a level to where someone can play a beat, right? I can match that beat, right? They can do the tricks. I can match the tricks. We can go there with it and I can match it. And I hate saying that. I hate doing that, but it's just a reality because of the fact is if you have an instrument under your belt, you have the advantage.
I'm gonna keep that in mind, and I'm definitely gonna pick up like a piano.
If you play
Sure.
If you play piano, you have an advantage. If you play guitar, you have an advantage. Bass, you have an advantage. If you're an opera singer, you have an advantage because your voice is an instrument. Mandolin, banjo, beatbox. It's an instrument. But if all you do is just play MIDI on a DAW, that's it. You could be classical in it, but it's still not going to equal up to the things that you hear on a real keyboard. Because at the same time, when someone's playing, when Elton John is playing and he's recording, Pro Tools is going, you see the waveform of him playing like this. There's no MIDI. There's no line of MIDI and dot of MIDI. There's none of that. He's playing this. Guitar, when I have to lay down a riff, I start at the slow BPM. I'll warm up at 60 BPM. So I'm going like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up it up to 80. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 120. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going faster. Then I'm all the way up, you know, and it's just like it's just going up until you reach that point of where you need to stop and go back down. You know your limits. Because when you gotta record guitar, there's different things. You gotta know the trills, you gotta know the sustain, pinch harmonics, you gotta do the bends right. You can't be messing up. You gotta know how to string skip. Picking the guitar, you gotta know how to pick between each string and do all this stuff. So like that's why it's really difficult for some. Because like when I'm making beats, I'm like, I might play some guitar on it, but it's gonna take me a minute. That's why I have so much admiration for bands, because we've been in a band, we've been in the studio, and we recorded on tape. So
we only had one shot. Look at Journey. Look at Eddie Van Halen. Look at all of them that had back in the 80s doing all those riffs and everything and perfection, straight. Just those are my favorite. They
literally had to get it right. Steve Vai, Crossroads. You gotta get it right. It's that movie. You gotta watch it to understand and see how he dubbed. He played guitar on both parts. For Ralph Macchio, is that his name? Ralph Macchio? He played guitar.
Ralph Macchio. Yeah.
He played guitar for that part, and he said Ralph Macchio was such a good actor. He was like, he's the best fake shredder he's ever saw. Because if you saw Crossroads, and you see how he played that guitar, that's Steve Vai playing. But the way that he improvised it and did all of that, you would have never thought that he really
never thought that was him. That's crazy.
And they didn't use no CGI, because it's like, how are you going to CGI that?
Yeah.
That's hours of dedication. So like Steve Vai playing both parts of that is insane. So yeah.
Well, it's been so fun having you on and interviewing and talking to you and everything, and I have much respect for you.
Absolutely.
You know, is there anything that you want to, talk about or say, or talk about any of your projects before we close out today?
Man, I mean, I appreciate how you having me on the platform, and
thank you.
You're a dope producer. I know.
Oh, thanks.
Worked on some things. And
that means a lot coming from you.
Yeah. Everyone's doing. I don't just open my door for anyone. I really am closed off to a lot. It takes a lot to get my attention. And it's not stubbornness, it's just my selective process, so it's just like, am I closed off to it, or is this a genuine person that I'm willing to help, or do I see something that might help them ascend to a level, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, it's just different. But I will leave it on this note. is to producers that are seasoned or not seasoned, you know, just keep going, do what you do, you know, and do what you do at the highest level, you know, and don't think too hard, and erase the phobias. Like I said, like erase the phobias. Like if you're scared to drive over a bridge of water, take 10 deep breaths and realize you can do it. Drive over that body of water and then go back home and produce something. Because what that is it's an accomplishment. Because when you walk on stage and someone hands you some stone and metal and you say thank you and you make a speech and walk off stage, that's an accomplishment. But is it a bigger accomplishment than you getting over a fear or something? Like driving over a bridge of water. That's an accomplishment. Because you were able to overcome something that you didn't think that you would be able to. Same thing works with placements. Same thing works with success in music. Both things can be true. Like it's just the way that it works. It's just the way that it works. Like I said, some people are terrified of elevators because they had a bad experience. Use it as a metaphor, as like, I was in the studio with Beyonce and I played a beat and she hated it. But then she chose somebody else's beat. Take that and use it as motivation. And then play that same beat and revise it for Taylor Swift and get it placed. And then be like, hey, they come to you now. Yo, that beat sounded familiar. Didn't you play that for Beyonce or somebody? Oh yeah, she hated that record. Are you serious? No way. Yes way. Dude, you got Taylor Swift on it though. I know. Why? Because you overcame a fear. That's the thing. You have to have somebody of a higher caliber tell you something sucks for you to really be like, okay. But if you just ain't built that way and want to keep being afraid and not go over that bridge, then that's on you. And you can't be part of that 1%. You're part of that 99% that won't make it. Because then you're not putting yourself in that position to push the envelope. That's just my take. If you're able to mentally say, I can do this, and I know I can do this, not because the next person did it and they did it for less. It's just the fact that you know that in your mind, I can do this, but I'm going to do it my way. And the way that I do it and approach it is going to be, they can like it or love it or they can hate it. Those are the only three things. They can like it, love it, or hate it. Because if they like it, it's a 50-50. If they love it, it's a 90-20, a 90-10%, sorry. So, but if they hate it, it's no good. So it just really boils down to, are you willing to accept those three things? And are you willing to cross that body of water?
Can I suggest something to you real quick?
Yeah.
Not only are you an amazing super producer and you're amazing at what you do, I really suggest that, because I feel like more people need to hear what you're saying throughout this whole entire interview. Have you ever thought of like going to a university and talking to music students, going on TED Talk? Because I really think that you have a gift of speaking and getting through. Yeah, I really think you do. You have a really good way of like using analogies and talking and making people see things in comparison. Yeah. And maybe you can help a lot of these artists out here or whatever get over that fear, because that is real. Yeah. Have you ever thought about making a bigger platform to speak on this and just speak about life in general and music?
I've never, I've never really thought about it because
You need to
I've
do
just,
it.
I definitely agree.
Uh-huh.
I guess because I've just been so like zoned in with the gauntlet. I don't really, or if I'm on like IG or something, playing beats or making beats or doing something like that. I don't really, pay too much attention to it. But, I know that my mom, she says that I'm a good writer because, when my grandfather passed, like I wrote his obituary and stuff, and I wrote like a really like heartfelt, like, goodbye message. And it was like, even my friend Mark, who passed, the drummer, it was like I wrote his obituary. His mom had me do that, and I put his whole like celebration of life together. And it was just like, it was like an honor to do something like that because I was just like, wow, like I didn't think that she would want me to do that, but I did it, and people were just like kind of wowed by the way that I spoke and did that stuff. And I don't know, I read a lot of books, so like I really just kind of just be chilled back, and when I approach music, I approach it with a blank slate, because I can't go into it unless I'm really like, it really has to be a motivated mission for me to really be like, oh, I know for sure that this is going to go to this person because this is what they've requested. Like I could send you 5, 10, 20, 30 emails of people asking from different industries like Call of Duty, hey, we need the stinger, and the stinger is like 10 seconds of like something, and then boom at the end, so they need that. I'm just not, it's just so overwhelming that I usually take my time. And I really, it's crazy because when I wrote Alonzo Mourning a letter, and he wrote me back a letter and sent me a card, like a basketball card, that was like the coolest thing, because like the fact that we share the same rare kidney disease, and like we both had kidney transplants and we've overcome things. It's just like a major like milestone, because like in the 90s and early 2000s he was so incredible in basketball, like playing for the Miami Heat. He played with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's my favorite basketball player ever. So like it's just like those things are just the way for me, and I feel like those are accomplishments. If you can write someone a letter, and I feel like that doesn't happen enough. I feel like if you figured out someone's PO box and you wrote a handwritten letter, because everyone is so stuck in the era of text and emails that I feel like if you wrote a letter somewhere and they received it with a stamp on it, to and from, they would open that letter as opposed to you sending a DM. And I feel like that would travel faster, and it would get you a 75% chance of a reply. That's what I feel like, because it's a complete 0% if you were to message someone like Taylor Swift or like Kanye or whoever.
Oh yeah.
Because one, they're not responding, it's their media team.
Right.
So,
right.
those
I
are
thought
just
about
the
Gucci
skills.
Man on one of my songs. I was like, there ain't no way he's gonna get it.
Now, all these people are the people that say that if you ever get, and here's the thing that you have to watch out for, is that people that message from people's profile and they'll DM you and they're like, yo, I've been checking your IG out, you got some fire beats, yo, like who's managing you, and who's doing this, and like it's like they wouldn't take the time to do that, because like that just isn't authentic.
Right.
Unless you're in the studio, like literally, like if they're sitting on my couch, I'm like, yo, you ever send a message? That's the media team. They got my, like 6 different people got my IG log. so they just be replying and stuff, and
Thinking it's a real deal, and it ain't.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, you should talk to them because it's kind of messed up, you know, because like you got these artists and producers believing that you really want to work with them, and he like, damn, you know what, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually calmed down a little.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people, it was an influx of a lot of producers posting screenshots saying, yo, Zaytoven sent me something and said that my shit was dope. And like, yo, like he asked me who's managing me. And like, yo,
From the check, you talking about from the IG with the check on it, the blue check? And it's his team sending the stuff out. Wow, that's crazy.
So it's like, yo, like a lot of these artists.
But people are naive too.
Yeah, unless they really feel like going on their IG and posting a story, most of the time it's their media team. They might get on there and post like a pic of something random, like an apple, or like some food, or if it's Travis Scott, he might post like himself yelling or something. Like it's not like it's not gonna be something like the average normal thing, because most of it's the media team. You know, and that's the thing. That's just how it works. You know, so like, that's just how it goes. And I'm gonna think about that TED Talk thing too, because I think I might have to do something.
Your whole storyline from the beginning to now, it's gonna inspire somebody to get off that couch.
Yeah.
Or put their illness behind. That, you know, that's a lot to deal with being sick. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And put their dreams forward. And not let something keep them back. Or this might be a little emotional. You might have somebody that's on their deathbed, or that's dying, or being told they're not going to live too long, or blah blah blah, and they just give up hope. You know what I'm saying? So you getting out there, especially when it comes to music, because music is so emotional, and it involves the body and the spirit and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really encourage you to do that, because it's really going to help a lot of people. Even if it helps even one or two, that's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I'll end it with this, because it's funny that you actually mentioned the deathbed thing. You know, my wife's dad, when he was having episodes, like he couldn't really, like, he would eat things and like he would vomit them up, and he was like,
Gastroparesis.
Like he thought that he had like an air bubble in there at times in his chest, but he found out he had esophageal cancer. So so basically, it had spread, and he had you know, he made sure that I got like 6 of his like most like prized mandolins. Inspired him. You know, he was losing a lot of weight. I was like, Richard, why don't we, you know, paint my studio? You know, why don't we paint it like the Bulls colors? Because, you know, that's my favorite. You know, red and black is my favorite colors.
Yeah.
Because it's also the game of checkers. You know, some people like chess. I like checkers.
I like checkers. I grew up on checkers.
So, you know, you can play the game of chess, but you got to really understand what you're doing, because you're on the clock. But at the same time, when you're playing checkers, you know, you can skip and hop and do what you need to do and win the game. So he came over, and he because he was a painter. He painted houses for a living, you know, and, you know, he got on the ladder and he painted the room, and he kept looking at it, and he was like, this is all I wanted to do, was to paint a studio and do this. And like, man, I was so happy for him to do that. And I was like, why don't you sit on the couch, man, and relax, and, you know, let's listen to some Grateful Dead, and, you know, let's just vibe out. You know, and that's why I got this tattoo of the Grateful Dead bears.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So like, you know, that's kind of honor him, and like, it's like really just things, you know, like I would never paint this room, you know, ever. And it will be heartbreaking when we sell this house, because we did paint this room together. But at the same time, I do have his memories with mandolins, the mandolins he left me. And I mean, they're like made out of elder wood. They're very handcrafted, like, geez, man, you could probably,
like, they're antiques.
You could probably go buy like a brand new car for one of these. But
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I would never sell it. I would never ever sell it. I don't care how low or the bottom I'm at. I would never, ever. You know. Plus, my wife would kill me. So I'm just like, no,
Right,
no way.
right.
So I just, you know, she believes in my music and she pushes me, you know, and she also is a super big supporter. And she's like, I can manage you. And I'm like, I wouldn't want to put you through that trouble. And I'm just like, you know, I wouldn't want to put you in that situation. But yeah, I mean, that's what it is. And I'm really gonna, like I said, like I'm gonna make some like cliff notes, and I might, you know, think about
That or a book.
Yeah.
Or just do audio podcasting, because I know with being introverted, I know about that. Sometimes you're extroverted, sometimes you just want your own space. You don't want to be on camera. You don't, even if you do audio, and you start interviewing artists or just something vocal, because I feel like you have that gift of just, and it's gonna get through the people, and we need that in the music industry. I think that's why I'm attracted to the whole team.
Yeah.
You, Sandman, something brought me to you guys. I don't know what it was. I ain't never made a beat in my life, but I woke up one day and in 2023, it was like, I want to be a beat maker. Now I'm a registered nurse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I want to make a beat. I want to be a music producer. I want to win Grammys, right? Who the hell does that? And then I found you guys. There's something about your guys' aura, that is attracting new music producers. And it's the way you guys talk and the way you guys relate to us, and even down to Focus, even with their whole production team over in Aftermath and all that stuff. There's something about being prestigious, having a good reputation, being having integrity when it comes to making your music, and being able to talk. And when you guys do interviews, or when you know, have real life conversations with other music producers, it really does mean a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think you should. I really do.
Yeah, I think I definitely will. I've been, ever since you said that, it's just been kind of racking my brain. So
yeah, maybe that's what this whole thing was meant. I was meant to give you that. I honestly believe in people meet for a reason.
Right.
Like, why the hell are you talking to a registered nurse? Like, I was an EMT for 10 years. I did firefighting for a little while, LPN, and then I've been in this since COVID. I've been a registered nurse.
Yeah.
So, like, how the hell will we get put into the same path, you know? Like,
but the thing is, like, for me, the fact that I openly spoke about my illness and no one really knew about it, and like only like Sandman knows, Nightlife knows, like Focus I think knows, and maybe like a couple other people besides like
those your
like,
brothers.
my immediate family. But to come on here and express it, something just told me to do it, and the fact that you said that you knew about the dialysis stuff, it's just crazy that
is
everything that I spoke about, you actually knew what it was. So like,
I've done it.
I feel like that was meant to be. So you completely understood what, like, how barbaric it is, and understand like the woes of how much it can take out of a person.
I've done CPR on patients that I put them on the machine. Now, I wasn't the nurse at the time. Put them on the machine. You know, they come in with so much fluid on them. And I'm like, you got to control your drinking. So I'm talking to them. Next thing you know, we're trying to take off all that fluid at a rate that I set, or the nurses set, and then they go into cardiac arrest, and then you got to put them on the floor because you can't keep them in the chair to do CPR. So I've been in the barbarics, or their blood pressure drops, and I'm running across the room, and I'm slamming the chair back, and I'm rushing them with a little bit of fluid just to bring up their blood pressure, because how dialysis is it's like going to work for 8 hours in 3 hours. It's so hard on the body, and it's so dangerous. I know. I did it for 2 years, putting patients on dialysis machines.
Yeah, it's really, you know, it really humble you, you know, and it'll really make you appreciate your body, and really, you know, make you be aware of things, and understand like I gotta make sure that these oil changes can keep going.
Yes. Yeah.
I gotta make sure that I can, every 100,000 miles I can get that oil change.
Right.
Making sure that you eat right, cheat sometime, do what you gotta do, but at the same time, just don't sit on the couch all day and just and that's what I kind of was telling my mom and my grandmother, because when my grandfather passed in past December, it's really hard for my grandmother because they've been married for like over 60 years, so like that's like her soulmate, and like all of that has been difficult for her still. So like it's hard to tell someone like that like it's gonna be okay when like you've been married to someone for 60 years.
Yeah.
So like, and I mean they're in their 80s, so like he passed, it was just like a different level, like because it was right after Thanksgiving. My mom was down here in Atlanta with me, and we literally were on the phone, and like we were on FaceTime, and I saw him walking. He took the trash out, he came back in, and then he sat in the sofa and was like, he couldn't really catch his breath. And my aunt, she was an EMT as well, so she was checking on him, and she was like, hey, we're gonna have to call you back. He said he's not having a hard time breathing. And then my mom started trying not to panic. I was like keeping my cool. I was like, man, like I just hope, because he had leukemia, so I was like, man, like I just want to make sure that all is good, and like it was tough. So it was just like a really
Sorry about that.
And like my mom, it's already kind of difficult when my mom comes down and leave, because like I'm the one out of the family that left, so I'm the furthest away from Virginia, so I'm 8 hours away. So like it's difficult, but like it's like at the same time, like I used to talk to my grandfather every day about sports, football, everything. He's a Washington Commanders fan. He loved the Virginia Cavaliers. He loved all kind of things. Wrestling was his favorite thing. Like, it's just a lot. But like, it was just like, just wicked. How that sequence played out. It was like unbelievable to me, because I'm like I basically lost my dad. Because he was the one that was like around.
And are you're feeling okay? Because that's a lot to go through.
Yeah,
You lost your grandfather, then you have a daughter, and it's like, and you had your son. It's just that's a lot to go through.
Like he knew, like we announced it that that my wife was pregnant, but he didn't know the gender. Like we didn't figure out the gender until like after he passed, and it was like wicked, So like, we had a girl, and so her name is Journey. So like it's just like
That's beautiful, and congratulations on the baby.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So her name is Journey. My son's name is Luca. And, it's just been it's been different, but and it's been difficult for my mom and them, because they're up there, and it happened in that house, and I just told them like, just a change of scenery would do you some good, and my grandmother's been going to grief classes and grief counseling. I had a therapist for about 3 weeks, because I was in a real different
That's smart.
state.
That's very, very smart.
I was really like I was picking up the phone like after he passed, and I was like calling him, and like no one was picking up the phone, so it was like a real like unbelievable experience. And like I had took a shower, and I'll never forget, I was taking a shower, and it just felt like a snake was just like around my body. Like I felt like I couldn't like breathe or anything. I had like the worst panic attack. Like my body just like was in like a state of shock. And so like I just had to realize what was happening, and just let my body take its course.
Yeah. Yep.
That was a major loss, and I never experienced nothing like that before. I've had friends who have passed, and I'm just like, yeah, because In October, I lost two of my friends. They passed in a house fire. Like they
That's
had an electrical
awful.
fire. I know. 2025 was rough. It was rough, and like
Well,
it was just like they passed, and it was intense. But I was just like, wow. And like I was telling my grandfather about that and he was like, "Oh, you'll get through it. You'll be good. It'll be all right." And I got through it, and then November rolls around, that happens, and it's just like, man, like
and
this is
I'll tell you this real quick, and then I'm gonna I gotta step out because I gotta go to work.
yeah,
But I'll tell you just real quick, and it might help, it might, I don't know, but it's like unfortunately we're all here on a time clock, and it's like the law of polarity. It's like when you lose something, it's like something else comes in and you gain it, and it's hard for people to see that. I try to tell my mom that all the time
yeah,
because she has a hard time with loss. She's attached to everything, and rightfully so. That's your family member. That's your grandmother was married to him for 60 years, and it's like you don't understand it in that time. So it's like the best thing to do is grieve. You did the right thing by getting the therapist, because a lot of, especially men, especially black men,
yeah,
don't acknowledge mental health, or they don't want to grieve because they don't want to look weak.
yeah.
That was very smart and responsible, and it's like,
Now it was interfering with my
man,
music. Like I literally
yeah.
couldn't meet. I had to meet deadlines for like 3 projects, and I completely missed them all.
Oh no.
Yeah, I missed but I explained to them all what happened. I said I had a
Mm-hmm.
death in the family, and they all understood. And
Yeah.
they sent me cards, gift bags. They said they were, man. The labels are really kind when it comes to stuff like that. So it's not like they completely like cut me off, but like it's just
People are
like,
here for you.
yeah. So like I was just
Yeah.
like, Sandman was definitely there for me because I was telling him because like it was just really like I would say like a month before that in September my grandmother had like breast cancer and they had to remove some stuff, and then so September, October, November, it was tough. That was tough. So it was like a lot going on. So it was like, wow.
That's a lot. That's
But I got through it,
Yep.
and I helped my mom through it, and they're all coming down here for to see Journey. They're coming down here July 30th. So my aunts are coming, my grandmother's coming, my mom's coming. I'm so excited. So they're gonna come down here. My mom's gonna meet her granddaughter. And stuff like that. So it's gonna be dope. Then she's gonna turn right back around and come down in August for Luca's birthday. So, we just
When's Luca's birthday again? When's his birthday?
August 15th.
Oh, mine's tonight. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Have the greatest time.
Yeah.
Enjoy that time with your family. Don't rush. Obviously, all the things, and
Oh.
just, man, that's awesome. That's like I said, everything comes around full circle, and
Absolutely.
you beat a lot of you've gone through a lot. You're a very, very strong person, very strong. And I look up to you. I respect you, and look
Yeah.
into that though. Look into
Yeah, I
that.
will.
All right.
I appreciate it. Thank you again for
You're
having me
officially
on
my
here.
brother, for real.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yes.
Much love, and I'm gonna head off to work.
All right.
And it was nice talking to you. And I'm gonna be putting this out soon, okay?
Okay. Yeah. Take your time. Do your thing.
All right. Awesome.
All right.
Deuces. Bye.